Hi, welcome to the Klingon Opera House podcast, a Star Trek recap podcast. My name is Ryan.
My name is Em.
And we are a couple of conveniently bipedal humanoids.
Today we're covering episode 3 of Star Trek Next Generation, The Naked Now.
Robo-fucking.
Yep. I also want to say that I just got over COVID, and that's why I sound like I smoke a pack a day.
I'm not sick, but I do smoke a pack a day. That's only half a joke. I was listening back to, actually, when you sent me like the recordings for last time, I was listening back to it and I was like, holy shit, I have to quit smoking. Because like my voice is way gravelier than I remember.
Huh. I mean, you were also like, so last time I watched Ryan accrue a fever through the recording the second episode, just like turned pale and gray through the recording.
I was chugging Gatorade the entire time, just like dying, talking about Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's fucking great, dude.
So that could have also been part of it.
Yeah, smoking helps nothing.
I'm going to do my best to cough off mic. I have 2 tanks of tea right here, so hopefully that helps us out.
I am drinking coffee right now because I did not sleep very well last night because my sweet cat boy, Scooter, was just knocking shit over in my room all night. And I love him to death, but goddamn.
He was just performing an exorcism. You should be thankful.
It's true. There's no ghosts in my room now.
Yeah, there you go. This house is full of ghosts. The cats are always like just like staring at the ceiling and going like, meh, 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 meh.
Well, they both are ghosts, aren't they?
Well, also the venue below us used to be a funeral home.
Oh, that's metal as fuck.
Yeah. Our landlord is like, oh, the ghosts occupy where they died, so they're not in the funeral home. And I'm like, buddy, just let me have my...
There's no fucking way there's no ghosts in a funeral home.
Yeah.
Come the fuck on.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I could totally see, like, a petty grandma, like, following, like, her body to her funeral to, like, see who cries the most.
Yeah. Yeah, me. I would do that. Fucking, yeah.
Yeah, so the cats are very familiar with the ghosts. But yeah, anyway... So I have a couple of things to talk about here off the top, and I also have a bit of more background. I think I would like to do like a bit of background on every episode. So I have a section about the making and reception of this episode, a little bit about Troy, and then some on Wesley Crusher. And I felt like this was an appropriate episode to do that because Wesley is so central to like the shenanigans of this episode.
I fucking hate Wesley in this episode.
Yeah, it's
so like, tell me you never got pussy in high school without telling me.
Hey, he gets pussy from like alien ladies.
Wesley?
Yeah. Yeah, he totally like has a couple of like dalliances. I mean, like they're pretty PG because he's like a kid and it's like daytime TV.
No, yeah, you can't have him like knocking up an alien girl.
Right? Yeah. But I mean, you don't get the impression that he's like a total does not.
I get the impression that he's a total virgin every time I see him on screen.
I don't know. There's nerds that give off virgin energy that
are just slinging dick.
Yeah.
It's only if they're self-confident, right? Like if they're like, yes, I'm a huge nerd, but you never hear them like complain about girls or something like that.
Yeah.
Slanging it.
Dude. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of questions for you.
Yes.
You know how before we were joking like, oh, this is a drinking game when we like make our Warhammer references and shit.
Yeah.
What if we did bingo cards?
Bingo cards.
Like we had like an Excel spreadsheet of like all these like things that would be like, you know, points for a drinking game, except we put it in like some kind of like randomizer, and like every week we put out on like our Instagram story or something like the bingo card of the episode, and you know listeners can play along and you know, get Star Trek bingo.
That would be pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, sweet.
Enough tool time.
Yeah,
for the podcasting.
Should I do my background shit?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so the entirety of season 1 is like the worst Trek ever.
This fucking sucks, dude. I don't know. This is like funny. Like this episode is really funny to me.
Yeah.
As opposed to the next one that we're going to cover, which is very not funny.
Oh my God. I mean, there's funny parts, but yeah, it's pretty rough. But yeah, so like it's funny because like when I go to research these episodes, for everyone so far, I've found like this is the worst Star Trek episode ever.
This is the worst Star Trek podcast ever.
But it's, I mean, like they're all kind of rough for different reasons. But yeah, so this one did not have a great reception. So the information I have on this, writer Ronald Moore, who joined the show in season 3, and he also worked on Battlestar Galactica.
Ooh.
Yeah, I haven't finished that one, but one day.
Yeah.
He said that up to some point there was like a sense that Next Generation was a stepchild that no one liked. So basically how a lot of people feel about Enterprise now.
Yeah.
But then like at a certain point it hit their stride. This is kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but like it was like basically like when the Borg showed up / when Riker got his beard, that attitude started to change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they figured it out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they got their groove.
How Roddenberry got his groove back.
Oh my God. Ronald Moore, this writer, also talked about how rigorous the pace of recording episodes was. Mm-hmm. They would do 26 episodes a year, about 6 days to film each one. And looking back to him, like when he's talking at cons and shit, I guess he was like, that's like a really crazy schedule. Like I guess maybe it's like unions or whatever, but like I guess it's a little less rigorous now. But like working in a creative field myself, I know how when you're working on a tight deadline after a tight deadline, like it's easy to just like put your shit down and cram through the work, and like your creativity can decay and just like shit falls through the cracks. So I can kind of see how like weird fucking episodes like this get made when there's that much pressure.
Well, when you're in that writing room and they're like, fucking write us a season of Star Trek,
mm-hmm.
right? And you're like, shit, but what are you gonna go to? Like, mm-hmm. And you know, this is clearly like a what do they call it in Community? A bottleneck episode. Everyone's in the same space. They're all like kind of quarantined on the Enterprise and shit like that.
I think it's just called a bottle episode.
Episode?
Like a ship in a bottle.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, or I mean, I think that's what it is.
We're probably both wrong. Yeah, no, like I could totally imagine like, what the fuck do we do? And you know, a writer looked, you know, at the probably lines of cocaine on the table. And he was like, well, I know what I'd do on the weekends. And he wrote this episode.
Well, so apparently this is a callback to an original series episode called The Naked Time, in which the crew encounters the exact same polywater intoxicant.
Oh, so they just ripped off another fucking episode?
Yeah, so like, you know that snippet of George Takei like brandishing the sword and holding Uhura?
Yeah, that's like a fucking Chad.
That's from that episode.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, like, when this first aired, the contemporary reception was just like, are we just going to recycle old plot lines? Like, what the fuck?
Are we just nostalgia baiting?
Yeah. And then also it was, like, a weird choice to have everyone acting out of character right after the pilot. Because, like, the interest is that they're acting weird, but there's no baseline because you've had one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's very weird. I'm going to save it for later. There's one specific character that I really want to fucking talk about in this episode.
Yeah.
But, like, it is very weird because, like, the only characters who I think managed to stay in character these episodes are Riker, Picard, and Wesley. And I think that's because they're the only ones that they had, like, a solid idea of what their character was actually going to be.
Yeah. Also, Riker stayed sober for, like, 4/5 of the episode.
I don't think it ever happened to him.
No, he did, but it's like right at the end, like right before he goes to engineering in the last scene.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I have it in my notes. Like, why can? Okay, we have to dive into this. Do you have any more background?
I do. So I was having a lot of like, what the fuck with Troy's accent. And I was looking it up, like, is this supposed to be a Betazoid accent? Apparently, the idea was that she was doing a Betazoid accent, and it's kind of just a mishmash of Eastern European and Israeli.
How the fuck do you come up with a new accent?
I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like usually when they have an alien and they have them talk differently,
Betazoids sound like Gal Gadot, apparently.
Yeah, but in other aliens, they usually just change the pace at which they talk, like the way that they move through a sentence rather than how they actually pronounce things, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like at least going forward.
Yeah. Well, okay, the Klingons, if I'm thinking kind of here, the Klingons don't have like a very unilateral way of speaking, if that makes sense. Like Worf's delivery will be different from like, I don't know if he's in this show or not, but I remember him a lot from DS9. Martok. They'll have like super
Oh, yeah.
different like deliveries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's just they were like, what can we give Troy? Because she's a nothing character.
Yeah. Well, I think like with the Klingons, their accent is talking from their gut and really pronouncing their consonants.
Is doing this.
Yeah.
This voice right now.
Yeah. It's like community theater accent.
Yeah, it fucking rocks. All Klingons are doing Shakespeare in the Park.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you know that there's a Klingon version of the Christmas Carol? Like someone wrote the Christmas Carol in Klingon, and like it's performed in some places. Like
I want to go see that.
I was trying to find like a version online like this last year during quarantine, and I couldn't find it like anything on YouTube or like somewhere else. But yeah, I would love to go see that one day. Yeah, but so apparently she has a Betazoid mom. Troy has a Betazoid mom, and she has an American accent. So the Betazoid has an American accent. So the thought was that the accent came from the dad, but the dad is human, so that's confusing. And then we do meet the dad at the end of the series, and he has an American accent. So it's big what the fuck vibes all around.
It'd be really funny if they were like, oh yeah, this is his human dad, and where's he from? Israel. Like,
yeah. Yeah. No, he's American.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was like not as much discussion behind the scenes as you would hope about this like very specific accent choice.
It seems to me as something just they were kind of like, do this.
Yeah, it's like you should have an accent because you don't have a lot else going as like to define your character. Actually, you know why Troy and Yar fall so flat? Originally the roles were reversed. You had a Betazoid as the security officer and Yar, who's from this like, crime planet basically, as the counselor.
Oh, that's way more interesting. And they switched it?
Yeah. And also originally, I mean, you might have heard this before, but Troy was supposed to have like 4 boobs.
4 like Total Recall style? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen Total Recall?
I have.
Okay. Is it like in the center or is it like under boobs?
Nothing that I couldn't find like any specification about, the construction of the 4 boob layout.
Was it paper mache? Was it silicone?
Roddenberry was convinced not to go forward with that because of, like costuming issues.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
And that was also like, I mean, I don't know, fucking, they have Michael Dorn in fucking prosthetics every episode.
Yeah, but like the physicality
of just like a woman with 4 boobs. It's not like, oh, this is an alien race. It's just like titties, but 4 of them.
Yeah. Oh my God. Can you imagine that being on daytime TV at that point? That would have been so like
funny,
controversial, but yeah.
Yeah.
But like the physicality of boobs, like the bounce and the squish, like it's a little different than just having the forehead shit on Worf,
Yeah, that's true. And it's also like there are real boobs there to account for, right?
Yeah. And they're in like whalebone corsets and like foam get-up. So they don't even really read as real boobs anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so instead of giving her 4 boobs, they were just like, let's put her in a whalebone corset and leotard and call it a day.
Oh, what's a whalebone corset?
It's a corset, but like the struts are made out of whalebone. Yeah.
That seems unnecessarily cruel.
I think that the idea was that it was like strong but flexible.
That makes sense. I mean, okay, they make guitar. So this is going to sound weird, but it's the nut of a guitar. And it's the thing at like the top of the neck, right?
Like the cranky thing?
No, that's a tuner. It's the thing that's like right before that. It basically keeps the strings in line.
Oh, it's like, it looks like a comb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a lot of those are made out of bones, but I always presume like sometimes it's like synthetic, or like I presume it's like this is made out of cow bone or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Just something about whale bones feels very like 18th century, like yes.
Well, that's also the era where they were using like whale fat as kerosene for lamps.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that you're like, yes, in order to light my living room, yes, I will kill a huge fucking creature that you have to hunt in the ocean with a spear. That seems really efficient, like a great idea.
To be fair, if you think about that lamp right there, right?
Uh-huh.
That is, I mean, electricity coming from basically dinosaur bones that were liquefied, that were lighting on fire.
Yeah, but at least like once you drill a hole it's self-sustaining, basically, you know?
Yeah, like you can get more of it.
Yeah.
It's not like we're gonna go out and fucking throw spears at a whale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Harpooning, baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's all I have on Troy. I have stuff on Wesley.
I'm gonna be mean.
/ Will Wheaton. And this is not to try to convince you not to hate the character of Wesley.
I don't hate Will Wheaton.
Yeah, but just to kind of like, I don't know, his character was done real dirty, and also like kind of as a person, he like dealt with a lot of bullshit.
Oh, there's no. It's the same way that it's like Jake Lloyd and Hayden Christensen absolutely do not deserve any of the shit they got for being in Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
That does not mean that the character Anakin is not bad, right? Like 100%, Jake Lloyd we should have been nicer to him. But,
yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's also just like in terms of seeing how the show gets put together, just to know like what the background of these actors is.
Right.
So I will try to not be too lengthy. Let's see. So Wesley was one of the first characters conceptualized when Roddenberry was putting together TNG along with Picard and Data, and that's why like they seem so much more like grounded when the show starts, because they are.
Right.
And a little later on in the conceptualizing of the show, before they even made it to auditions and they were still conceptualizing, Robert Justman, which is one of the producers and writers, he argued that the character would be more interesting as a girl Wonder Kid instead of a boy Wonder Kid, since lots of other shows at the time
had a boy Wonder Kid.
Yeah, and no one was really doing a teen girl in that kind of character. He wanted to explore the struggles of an above average intelligence teenage girl who might stand out from her peers. But you know what? That would have been a different kind of shit show, dude.
I think you'd have the problem of like any time a female character is put in the forefront, right? Everyone calls her a Mary Sue. And to be fair, the character of Wesley as it is a Gary Stew. Right? But that's not like a pun. That's a real term, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Like people call shit Gary Stews.
You could have taken credit and I would have just believed you.
Damn. But
look, does this face not say gullible to you?
You can't choreograph this to me. I'm going to.
You mean telegraph?
Shh. But the problem is I'm not convinced that the TNG writers would have because I think that would be a cool idea, right? If you made her bearable, if you made her just like a normal character who is just like smart, right? Like write her the way that like an actual smart person exists, right? Like think about your friend who got a 35 on the ACT in high school, but just like a normal person. That'd be great, right? You know what I mean? But looking at the other female characters from the show, I think you're right. Like that would have been a whole different like.
Yeah.
But I also think like, I don't know, there'd be much less like, oh, look at this fucking incredibly smart person doing these incredibly insane things at this incredibly young age because this is Gene Roddenberry's self-insert, right? And instead, like, we might have gotten a much better developed character. Yeah,
because it wouldn't have been, it would have had more room to breathe.
Yes. There would be less emotional attachment from the writers.
Yeah. But so apparently Roddenberry and Will Wheaton were close. Like, he conceptualized Wesley as a son and treated Will as such. If Will passed by Roddenberry's office and an executive was in there, he would kick the exec out and invite Will in to hang out. Imagine you're this lonely, anxious kid, and the person who's on set who's kindest to you and who made the TV show that you love as a kid is now acting like a father figure to you. I feel like that alone would send you to therapy as an adult.
Yes. Also, I might have to cut this joke out. I don't know. Was Will Wheaton getting groomed? Was that like
I don't know. I don't know that there's no other like any kind of allegations like that,
There's nothing like that, but like how fucking weird is that where it's like I know Will Wheaton and I'm just going to be his dad. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, that is kind of odd. I mean, like I think that he was a bit of a lost puppy and he had a hard home life. And so, like, he was kind of looking for that kind of figure to begin with, probably.
Yeah, I know. Was this Will Wheaton? I don't know. But I think it was. He posted something, I think, on his Instagram story or something like that about how his mom had started a fan club for him at
What?
some point. Yeah.
That's also weird. Like, I'm going to start a fan club for my child actor son, in which, like, the whole point is for, like, girls to have crushes on him. Like, that's weird.
That's very weird.
It's like when your parent tries to set you up with someone, except it's, like, hundreds of people and you don't know any of them.
Well, the thing about a fan club, too, is, like, that should be organic. I don't know. Yeah, that's, like, that feels very, like, and also, I feel so scummy now for being, like, I fucking hate Wesley, right? Because, like, how much of this is just, how fun would that be? To, like, be on Star Trek, like, as a 15-year-old, especially if you were, like, into, like, Star Trek as a kid or whatever. That's like if you were like, Ryan, we're going to put you in the next Star Wars movie when I was 15. Like, I would have been like, oh, fuck yeah. Put me in the X-Wing. I want to be good at everything, right?
Yeah. Yeah, just playing the role in and of itself would be really fun, but also definitely screw you up.
Yeah, I'm sure we can, like, read some Will Wheaton interviews and he'll be like, yeah, no, I've been in therapy for 15 years or some shit.
Well, he has. So I have a note on that, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, but so yeah, apparently at an early con, some fans, Wesley was at this con with Roddenberry, and some fans were shit talking the character of Wesley.
Really?
Yeah, man, because we refer to him as Wes, and his name is Will. I like keep interchanging them when I mean to talk about the person, not the character. But anyway,
yeah.
But according to Will, Roddenberry said to them, "You shut up. I love Wesley, and I made Wesley out of me, and it's my show. And if you've got a problem with that, go watch something else."
They're just fucking traumatizing poor Will Wheaton.
Yeah, but apparently Will really appreciated that Roddenberry stood up for him because he didn't have a lot of that at home.
Yeah. Well, it's weird because, like, how much of it is like, oh, it's good to have this, like, father figure in your life, but also this father figure is using a character that you're acting to, like, vicariously experience what he wanted from his childhood. Or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue the idea that, like, a lot of parents live vicariously through their kids. I would also
I experienced that. Yes.
Yeah. That's also not the healthiest exactly, but, like, it's not unusual for a parent figure to be doing that, I suppose.
Yes. It's just to the extent of, like, how much does he connect Wesley and by extension Will to himself?
Right. Well, like, probably a lot.
What inner child shit is going on here?
A lot. But also the first time that Will met Shatner, Shatner was a big fucking asshole to him. Like, they were on set of, like,
Will Wheaton, you're a fucking dork.
Well, he like, Shatner did not think highly of Next Gen, and he especially did not think highly of the character of Wesley.
Yeah, of course he didn't, because he's not on the fucking show.
And also, it's Shatner. He kind of has a reputation for, like, being shitty.
Yeah,
like he makes fun of fans at cons and shit. Like, I don't know if you've seen, like, videos of him just, like, negging fans at cons.
It's because he has a huge fucking ego.
Yeah.
Well, it's also like, fuck Bill Shatner. We are Leonard Nimoy fans in this house.
Agreed.
Yeah, he's like an egotistical baby boomer shithead. I think he's mad that his whole career is tied up with just, like, sweaty nerds adoring him. He wanted to be, like, something else, I guess. He wanted to be fucking...
Well, I think that he wanted more of... I would guess that Shatner wanted more of a female fan base. Like, that's the kind of attention that he wanted.
And yeah, and instead he gets, like, guys that look like me coming up to him and being like, Mr. Shatner, can I get your autograph? Like,
yeah, and, like, it's too bad that, like, especially back then, sci-fi was not an open, like, a welcoming community for women. Not that there weren't women who enjoyed sci-fi, but
sci-fi, mainstream sci-fi was really unwelcoming to women. There are a lot of prominent female sci-fi authors at that time, but, like, as a community, very male dominated.
Yeah. So it's like, I think that's not the fan base that he wanted, and the audience that he was catering to didn't have a lot of that fan base anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I have some on Will Wheaton's young life. He started to have panic attacks at 8.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and beginning at 12 to 13, he began manifesting acute anxiety. I don't know how, if you have panic attacks at 8, if that doesn't count as acute anxiety, but, like, that's what I looked up, and that's what I found.
Gotcha.
And I have this quote from him that I think really explains how he was feeling. I had no confidence in self-esteem and terrible self-esteem. I felt like I couldn't trust anyone who wanted to be close to me because I was convinced that I was stupid and worthless, and the only reason anyone would want to be my friend was to take advantage of my fame. And did you ever watch Stand By Me, the movie?
No.
That was his first movie, that first thing he was ever in.
Mhm.
And it was a huge hit. And so, or maybe he was in a couple things before that, but that's the first big thing he was in. But yeah, so he couldn't go out in public all of a sudden because he'd be like mobbed by like teen girls and the paparazzi.
Yeah.
And
He's already having fucking panic attacks. Jesus.
yeah, and that's kind of how he landed Star Trek. But at home, his dad bullied and manipulated Will, like through his childhood. And it kind of seems like throughout his life. Or at least, was not kind to him throughout his life. And he like often made him the scapegoat of the family while idolizing his brother. Sounds like someone had a personality disorder.
Yep.
But, armchair diagnosing people in the past when I've read like a whole paragraph about them. But
Let's get Maddie in here.
yeah. But as a kid, Will didn't want to act. His mom pushed him into it at 9.
Oh.
Yeah.
Poor kid.
And his parents spent all the money that Will made, except for the bare minimum specified by the Coogan Law, which I didn't get to look it up specifically, but I presume there's only like a certain percentage that the kid is allowed to keep.
Yeah.
Or like, base minimum.
So he's getting exploited by his parents for his labor.
Yeah, to the point where even into his 20s, he was financially reliant on his parents. So imagine you're fucking anxious and depressed.
You are famous.
You don't have any help with the mental shit. You feel bad because you live such a privileged life and you don't understand why you feel this bad. And you're a fucking star on Star Trek and you are still reliant on your parents financially. Like,
Jesus.
No thank you, man.
Yeah.
That's rough.
That is really rough. Fucking poor guy.
Yeah. But while on set as a teenager, he'd be like fighting a panic attack and be having like difficulty breathing. And showrunners would complain to his parents that he was being difficult to work with.
I'm gonna kick their ass.
Yeah. This like reading about him, I want to fucking smack like everyone in his life.
Let's jump Gene Roddenberry's ghost.
Well, I mean, Gene Roddenberry was nice to him.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I think it would be like Rick Berman if you want to be mad at someone.
Let's jump Rick Berman.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons to do that.
So many.
But yeah, he was like trying to do the think your way out of depression thing, and surprise, surprise, it didn't fucking work.
I tried that. That doesn't work.
But his family like just did not talk about mental health, and like really no one did at that time.
It was like 1986.
Yeah, but it didn't help that mental illness ran in his family from bipolar disorder to substance abuse disorder. And through his 20s, he began to experience paranoia and struggled with alcoholism in his 30s. And around then, in his 30s, is when he started to get help, like with medication and talk therapy.
Man.
Yeah, that's a long time to like struggle without help.
Man. Okay. Delving a little bit, we're going to do a personal biography for me a little bit here.
All right, go for it.
I was really struggling like ages 15 to 18. That's 3 years without help.
Mm-hmm.
Could not imagine doing that for that long with that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Like that is, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Will Wheat needs a hug.
Yeah.
Even though he's like 40 now.
And he's a really sweet guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, in adulthood, Will has reconciled with his parents, and he's like come to terms with the idea that while his parents didn't give him the help that he needed, they lived in a world where it was shameful to do that, and they didn't know how to handle it. And so, like, while like he's not being like, "Oh, it's fine that they didn't do anything," he's also like, "I get why they did it."
Yeah, and I mean, okay, it sounds like there's like another level of like abuse there, right? Where like with the dad, and also like taking all of his money that he earned. Yeah.
Yeah. So, aside from screen acting, he's an author. He's done tons of voice work in animation, games, and audiobooks. I want to look up what games he's done voice for.
Yeah, me too.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And he also does like sketch comedy. I looked up like this sketch he did at a con.
Mm-hmm.
And he was retelling the story of like when he met William Shatner. And it's like apparently like they Shatner later apologized to him and like they're fine, I guess. But it's still like a funny story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like in this skit at the con while he's telling this story, he's like got musical backup, and it's fucking hilarious.
Hell yeah.
It's great. But in 1999, he married a woman with 2 kids from a previous relationship. And when they were older, they asked Will to legally adopt him, which he did.
Aw.
It's so sweet. And he still lives with generalized anxiety disorder and chronic depression. And he spends a lot of time raising awareness of mental health support.
Good for him. Also, Will Wheaton, certified MILF enjoyer. Proud of him.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's Will Wheaton. I like, really sad, but also heartwarming, I suppose.
I mean, you and I both, we do with our shit, right?
Yeah.
We've got our own stuff going
Yeah.
on.
We are both therapy goers.
Yeah. if that's indicative of anything. And so I think that's really easy for us to relate to, right? Yeah, God, that is so like, yeah, that like story of like, well, he got better, right? It's nice to hear that like, that's really gonna fucking tinge the way I view the rest of this series, because every time I was watching this episode, Naked Now,
yeah,
and I was like, God, I fucking hate Wesley, but I think it's gonna add a different level to it to be also like, oh, Will Wheaton was miserable while he was recording this.
Yeah, I think that like, yeah, it is sad to think that he was having a tough time. Apparently, also he had a really close relationship with the actor who played Beverly Crusher.
Oh,
yeah, so that's very sweet.
Yeah,
but I think that like this is kind of like a similar thing to a lot of characters that get on our nerves when we're watching Next Gen. Of like the writing for the character is fucking rough.
Not at all Will Wheaton's fault.
Yeah, but then the character does their fucking best, and that's what Will is doing here, and that's like what Troy's doing too.
Oh yeah, no, like none of the like this is one of those things where it was like when The Last Jedi came out, and tons of people were really mean to, I'm forgetting her name, but she played Rose in that movie. People were like being really shady to her on social media and stuff like that. She didn't give a bad performance.
No, yeah.
She was given a bad part, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it's similar to being like, I'm listening to an audiobook and the book is bad, so I'm going to scream at the narrator or something like that. No, like it's not at all the actor's fault. Also, Will Wheaton, Yurgi, also every other actor on Star Trek, Yurgi, except for some of them, but whatever.
I can't think of any of them that are like straight up trolls. Like from what,
like shitheads.
Yeah, like from what I know of them, like a lot of them I kind of only like really know tangentially, but like it doesn't seem like any of them are really super obnoxious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's all the background I have for today.
So you did the skeleton recap for this. You also did the skeleton recap for the other one, which I was supposed to do, and I did do. But you also did.
I didn't realize that you'd done it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, because you probably did a better job of it. It's kind of funny. I was like, oh my God, they gave me the racist one to do this. But that's the next episode. This one, Naked Now. Please, begin the plot.
Yes. It was aired on October 5th. We're still in 1987. Roddenberry is still the only showrunner credit as executive producer. But we know that Dorothy Catherine Fontana, under the pseudonym of J. Michael Bingham, worked on this episode.
J. Michael Bingham.
Yeah. But like, I mean, like, it sucks that even at this point, she had to use a pseudonym.
Yeah.
And I'm also curious, like, I wonder if this is like an amalgamation of like, this is my uncle's name and like my mother's maiden name. Like, what is all that? But also, it's interesting to know that there was definitely a woman in the writer's room for most of these episodes. But I mean,
it's easy for voices to get overpowered.
Yeah. Like
it can also be like, maybe she's a woman with shitty ideas on women.
Yeah, women can definitely also be
misogynist.
Yeah, you can have ingrained misogyny even when you're the victim of the system.
I mean, yeah. I mean, speaking as somebody who is bisexual and both like had a large amount of internalized homophobia, right? At least that I recognize, and I'm sure I still have a level of it, right?
Same over here, bud.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I also am sure that was a very interesting experience for her to be working in that position.
Not fun, certainly.
Yeah, probably quite stressful, but yes, that's her. And also John D.F. Black is given a writing credit. So we begin on the bridge.
Yep.
The Enterprise's mission of the day is to investigate the loss of contact with the SS Tsiolkovsky. What a fucking name.
Tsiolkovsky. That's a good name.
Yeah. Did you ever look it up, how to write it out?
No.
Look. Top line.
Oh, that's a good fucking name.
Yeah.
It's a TSIO. Fucking, that's baller.
Super Russian.
It is in the original series. There's a Russian crewmate. Very interesting that they were at that, because the Cold War is still going on at this time.
Right. But also, I think aside from America, they were the most space-faring country. And so I think it makes sense that
we say we won the space wars, but the Russians kind of outplayed us that entire time.
Yeah. The space wars was really just a
space race?
Space race, there you go. The space race was just a propaganda game.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah. But
launching dogs into space for fun.
The poor dog.
Poor dog.
Man, we've shot so many fucking weird animals into space.
We should put an orangutan up there. They'd figured if we put an orangutan on Mars, he would terraform it.
I feel like fuel wise, they're so heavy. It wouldn't be worth the payoff. Because chimps are still they're compact and small, and they're still really fucking strong and smart. If anything,
orangutans are so wise though. They have so much knowledge.
I feel like orangutans are kind of lazy. They sleep a lot, compared to chimps, I think. Yeah. I'm really talking about out of my ass here. I'm just speaking based on what I've seen in fucking zoos.
Chimps are evil. Orangutans are wise.
Yeah, chimps will overthrow the government and take everything over.
What, is the Planet of the Apes?
Yeah. There's some animals where I look at them and I'm like, you are too sentient, and it freaks me out. Because
chimps are one of those.
I can tell that you're keeping tallies, and we're going fucking down one day.
That's why I like orangutans. Because they have such gentle, faces.
Yeah, that's, wow, sorry. Went so off the rails there.
So off the rails.
Okay. Anyway. Okay, all right. So the Tsiolkovsky has been observing the death of a red supergiant star. Enterprise gets some weird butt dials from the Tsiolkovsky, and so they're going to check out if everything's okay. They make contact, and they hear the seductive voice of a woman.
And she's like, do you have any strong men on your ship?
It's a hot and ready ensigns in your sector, just a comm link away. Yeah, but also it's hilarious that they have Data talking to her. He's at the comm talking to her.
Yeah.
If anybody to be talking to someone who's drunk on the line, definitely put Data on the job.
No, yeah. That is a bad decision.
Yeah, so Data's talking to her, and she says a huge blowout is about to occur. And you hear a rowdy bunch in the background, and someone screaming chug. And then you hear this explosion, and then there's silence.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh shit, they're dead.
Yeah.
And they go on the ship, right? Everyone parties themselves to death.
Yeah. So yeah, Riker, Data, LaForge, and Yar beam over, and Worf reports that there's no life signs over there. The Tsiolkovsky is on red alert when they beam over, and the team splits up to Skulk, Pussyfoot, and Gumshoe their way around the ship.
Skulk, Pussyfoot, and Gumshoe?
Remember from the first episode, the opener when...
Oh, but yeah.
Yeah. When Data's just reeling off.
Pussyfoot is a good band name.
It's such a kind of uncomfortable slang. I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Fuck yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, so there's crap everywhere. And Data says that there's looks like there's a wild party. The stuff that's on the ground is just colorful confetti and shit. It looks like it was a kindergartner's birthday party in there. I don't know if you as an adult has been to a party and it looks like that.
There are adult parties that look like that, but they are orgies.
Yeah,
there's
that's
a lot
what this
of glitter
was.
everywhere.
That's fair. Yeah. You know what? It looks like Pride.
True. Pride on the Tsiolkovsky.
Also, when they split up, I'm just
why?
You're just trying to advance some conflict in this plot by splitting up. It's never a good idea.
A Scooby-Doo episode. Well, gang, why don't Yar and I go search the bedrooms?
Yeah. So Riker and Data find that the bridge is open to space, and Riker says that everything's been sucked out, and Data's like, no, they were blown out. And I'm like, is that even really an accurate way to describe what happened? Who says blown out? I feel like they're just like Roddenberry is just really trying to get as close as he can to saying blowjob as he can on air.
They got sucked out, all right.
I wonder if that would
They
just be
got-
too blatant.
They got sucked out.
They sure did. So, elsewhere on the ship, Yar reports from engineering 10 crew members are frozen, and someone fucked with a thermostat and vented all the heat into space. Out there somewhere, a dad is going, I'm never going to financially recover from this.
That episode of SpongeBob where Mr. Krabs can tell from like 8 miles away if someone's touched his thermostat or not.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. LaForge, he's still on the other ship, on the Tchaikovsky.
Yeah.
And he finds these crew members like looking at it. It's like if somebody got Pompeyed while they were about to fuck.
Yes.
For
an orgy, these poses are pretty tame. I mean, I guess it's daytime TV, but like they could have gone real fucking wild with it.
Yeah, no, it could have been pretty. They could have given me a good chuckle with this, and they didn't.
Yeah, man, could have had like a super not safe for work conga line going on. Oh my god, my mom's gonna listen to this.
What to butt, baby? Yeah. So he opens up the fucking shower. And there's like this jump scare. And he gets this like white powder stuff all over his hands. I wonder what that could be.
Yeah. He just like takes a line like off her like cheek, like
take a
come
look.
here, honey.
It's in a book.
It's covered in cocaine.
It's covered in cocaine. Yeah, and Riker's like Riker calls back to the Enterprise and it's like everyone's fucking dead on this ship.
Yeah, 80 crew members are dead. I don't know, like
that's so interesting compared to the Enterprise.
Yeah, I mean it's it seems kind of more akin to like a mini Voyager, like it's specifically a science ship.
Yeah. They're not sending like the big boy battle cruiser or whatever the fuck to do this.
Yeah. Also, like it's always funny to me when they're like, yeah, we're gonna send the flagship out to check on this tiny science vessel. And I mean, like that's just like, you know, there's some plot convenience that just has to happen, but sometimes I'm just like, yeah, we're definitely gonna send the flagship to do this little fucking errand.
Well, that's the fucking thing about like the Enterprise in this show is that okay, clearly they're like on the whole like, oh, this is an exploratory force bullshit, but Starfleet is a military presence.
Yeah,
it's like if you send an aircraft carrier to go like investigate like one ship crash somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious about like the fuel consumption of like the Tsiolkovsky versus like Enterprise.
Do they even use fuel? Because it's warp.
Yeah, they use it's dilithium.
Dilithium.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Okay, let's see if I can like remember my way through this like nerd science. In space, once you get something moving, it retains its inertia until it hits something.
Yeah.
So really, you just need to like at least an impulse. You just need like enough to get it going. In a ship like the Tsiolkovsky versus the Enterprise with the difference of mass, like you gotta like get it going, but then after that you're not really burning anything. But with warp, now okay, I'm remembering this now. Warp works because it's like creating a bubble in space-time in front of it, and so it like sucks it forward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so like probably continuing to make that warp bubble in front of the ship.
It's like a sail.
Yeah, but you probably need to continue to feed in energy. And that's why you need to continue to use dilithium. Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Sorry, that was such a tangent.
That's fine. They fucking go into Crusher's office. Or it's Act 1 now, officially.
We're after intro, the space final frontier. Have you, when you watch the intro, do you ever like try to like time it and say space at the same time as Picard?
Yes.
It's so fucking fun because it's so hard to pinpoint. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Somebody send me like a sheet of music so that way I can like figure out what bar that's on. They cut to Crusher's office. Crusher and Troy are looking at a tricorder. They're trying to figure out like what really happened.
Yeah, they're like stalking through Snapchat stories trying to figure out what went down at the party last night.
They are texting all of their friends, and all of their friends are telling them that they blacked out.
Yeah. Quick question. Thoughts on Troy's new look with like the leotard and like the jewel on her forehead?
I wish that they would just give her a normal uniform so that way she wasn't just like constantly showing boobie.
She just doesn't like look like she's part of the crew.
No, she looks like someone's girlfriend who's on like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you know how like if you go see a band and suddenly there's someone on the stage and you're like, oh, that person isn't doing anything. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's like it feels very like Yoko Ono, you know?
Yeah. I think that the idea was like supposed to be that like she's a counselor, so she's trying to put people at ease. But like
with her titties.
I don't know. I think it really is just like her character is sexy, and that's like half of her character value. And I think that's what's happening.
It's so fucking lame.
Yeah.
That sucks so much. You can have a hot character who does things other than be hot.
Yeah, because you got fucking Beverly. You got Worf. Although Worf, like his like, you know,
non-conventionally hot.
Well, that's only because it's being made by fucking men.
True. Well, but like later on, Deep Space Nine Supremacy, do you have the hottest Star Trek character ever, Julian Bashir?
Yeah.
And he's hot as shit, and his whole character is allowed to be not just like, ooh, look at me in my sexy little face,
yeah,
right?
He wears his uniform, but
yeah.
But also, he's a man, and you know, if a woman's gonna be sexy, she has to be showing her tits. But a man can be sexy in uniform.
We have to jump Gene Roddenberry.
We have to be fair, we have to jump all the male showrunners of the era.
True. Yeah, fuck it. Okay, so Picard, he shows up, and Crusher and Troy are like, we got nothing, homeboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Picard's like, was it madness, hysteria, delusion? And I'm like, you're just like listing off the thesaurus again.
These are all of the things that they used to diagnose women with when they had their period in the 1800s.
Yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't like, was it the wandering womb?
Do they have consumption? Like,
shoot, what was it called? Fumes, airs, whatever the fuck. They're
the vapors.
Yeah, they have the vapors and their humors are off.
Yeah. Did you guys let any blood? Did you try that?
Yeah. Yeah. But so Troy's like, oh, it could have been any or all. It's like, man, super helpful here. Yeah. So Picard pulls the away team back and puts them through decontamination. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So they're in sickbay and Crusher's scanning all the members of the away team. And she's scanning data and she says like, oh, you're in such perfect condition, you could write you up in a medical book. And Data's like, I'm already in like 6 of those motherfuckers.
Just like total deadpan.
Yeah.
Love fucking Data.
Yeah, best character in this show, I think.
I'm worried that I'm just gonna sound like like nothing but vocal fry.
Yeah. That will be funny. So LaForge sits down and they scan him and he's all good, but he's like real fucking sweaty. And he's like kind of being a dick. And he's like, you made it too hot in here.
Yeah. Maybe LaForge is a sweaty Betty and he gets defensive about it. Yeah, but I mean, like, he's definitely sweaty for a reason here. Yeah, but like everyone's a little taken aback at him being kind of like
a bitch.
Yeah. And Beverly's like, I'm gonna run more tests on you. Something's off.
Yeah, she contacts Picard and she's like, hey, homeboy, Geordi's in sickbay for right now. I can't determine a specific issue, but I'm still like kind of concerned because like he could just kind of like be a dick, but like I don't think it's really like that because he's the reading rainbow guy and he would never be a dick to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then back on the bridge, Riker goes up to Data and he wants to help him on his research. And he says that Riker says he has this vague memory of reading about a person that's like fully clothed in a shower. And they did find someone who was like fully clothed in the sonic shower, like when LaForge had the jump scare. And so Data starts this deep dive into the computer library. And Riker's like, oh, this should be no sweat since apparently you're in all these like medical textbooks. And he's like kind of poking at him.
Yeah.
And Data's like, was I boasting? And Riker just totally stone-faced is like, it could be taken that way. And I'm like, this guy is just trying to read the room. Don't like you don't need to be so like give him a little slack here.
Yeah, don't be a bitch, Riker.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's learning human emotion. He's a robot. Like, yeah. Give him some fucking time.
I think like later Riker would have like said the same thing, but with like a little bit of a twinkle in his eye, like a little.
He would have been Beard Riker would have handled this differently.
Yeah, like a bit of a kinder edge to it, to be like being honest but helpful. But here Riker is just like, yeah, dude, that was weird. Not trying to soften the blow at all. Although I guess Data doesn't have any feelings, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Could you just like unequivocally be a dick to Data and then like
I mean, Data does pick up when someone's being aggressive to him.
there's also some shit later in this episode which I think implies much heavier things about Data, but I want to wait. I want to wait until we get to it. Yeah, so back in sickbay, Crusher's like doing tests on LaForge, and he just like drops his comm badge while she's like looking away, and he fucking like ganks himself out the kitchen window.
Yeah.
He just like dips.
The Twilight music over that like scene where LaForge is just like drunk as a skunk and like do like walking out the door.
Yeah.
So fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like I would really love to just like have that playing in the background every time I'm like 4 deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crusher runs after him and doesn't see him in the hallway, so she notifies Yar, who initiates a ship-wide search.
Yeah. He drops his comm badge. He fucking dips.
Mhm.
And so he also just like decides like, you know what I should do? Basically 5 beers deep.
Yeah.
Hang out with a teenager.
Yeah.
So he goes and he goes to Wesley's quarters, and he's like showing him his little fucking mini tractor beam, and he's like, observe my magic creation, and he fucking pulls a lever on like this like, you know, basically breadboarded like switch machine.
Mhm.
And he, fucking Wingardium Leviosa is a chair.
Yeah. And LaForge is like so impressed by this.
Which he's like, okay. I can imagine being impressed by like, oh wow, you're 15, you're figuring out like tractor beam technology.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just that like
LaForge himself probably wouldn't be impressed by this if he was like, if someone who was like his caliber was like, look at that, I made this.
Yeah, I think like the what becomes like kind of stymieing is like it's kind of hard to know exactly how hard it is to do these things. You know? Like how hard is it to build a mini tractor beam Lego set? We don't have like a lot of like baseline of like what regular 15-year-olds are doing at this age in, you know, our Lord's year of 2400, whatever the fuck.
Probably like having sex and friends, unlike Wesley. To be fair, he is on a ship full of adults. There's no one his age.
No, there is. There's kids on the ship. Remember, there's like a preschool.
That's like the only one that we see.
Well, that's the only one that we see, but there are kids his age on the ship.
So he's just a dweeb?
Yeah, because he goes to school on the ship.
Poor Wesley Crusher. Yeah, and Wes talks about how he's like, you know, I'm pissed. I don't want Picard. Picard won't let me go on the bridge, even though he knows the ship's systems really well, better than anyone.
Yeah, he's like a kid that's been playing like a bunch of Grand Theft Auto and is like, I don't know how to drive. Let me drive to the grocery store. I can do it.
No, it's the same thing as being like, I played Call of Duty. I know what guns are. I know how to work.
It's very silly.
Yeah, and he also shows him his fucking Picard speak and spell.
Yeah, he brings out this box that emulates Picard's voice, and
technology that we have now. We have text to speech now.
Well, it's also deepfake.
Oh my god, yeah, he's deep faking Picard.
Yeah, because he's like generating new sentences in his voice. But yeah, so LaForge compliments Wes. It's like, LOL, it's so funny you can hack my boss's Twitter. Good thing you're a good guy.
Yeah.
How are you interpreting Wes's fixation on Picard?
I think the easy interpretation here is like, oh, he's a father figure. I think Wesley is fixating on him as a point of authority and as a thing to get what he wants. He wants to be on the bridge. He wants to know what's up with the Enterprise. I think Picard is necessarily secondary to the idea of his, because like projecting, you ever met like someone, I would describe them as like a striver. Like you meet them at when they're like 15 years old and they're like, yeah, I'm going to go to Harvard Law. I know that for a fucking fact. You were that?
That was me, except I was like, I'm going to be an artist, which I am. But
yeah, but that's like a cool thing to be.
Yeah, but I was a fucking tryhard.
Right, but okay, but it's like being a tryhard for something like shitty and weird, like being like a Starfleet captain or something, right?
Yeah. He's a kid who, from like the age of 10, is like, I want to be the president, and like is like school president and shit like that. But also his mom is like a member of the cabinet for the presidency.
or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's literally like if he's a Kennedy kid or some shit, except he
Yeah.
kills less hookers.
What did you just say?
Ted Kennedy killed a hooker, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Did
he did. Yeah, no, he. I don't know if it was a hooker, or if it was just a young woman. I think it was a hooker.
Sex worker?
Yeah, I shouldn't say hooker. You're right.
Yeah.
Wesley's he's a fucking striver. He's like nowadays they're like, I wear like my blue jeans and like my tight suit jacket,
Mm-hmm.
and I fucking
golf polo.
Yeah, those assholes who are like, I'm going to be a fucking senator, and then they will.
Mm-hmm.
And you hate them every day of your goddamn life.
Yeah, because they're raising expectations, and then you have to also meet those expectations.
I never once met them. That's my power.
My problem is that I was that person raising expectations for everybody else.
Right, but you're cool.
Now I am.
I feel like we would have been buddies in high school.
I think we would have been buddies, but I think I would have really annoyed the shit out of you. Because, like I said before, like, you are, like, the vibe of the kind of person I hung out with in high school. But, like, I was so much the apple shiner amongst my group. Like, kind of in an obnoxious way.
You were
like,
a brown noser?
I was a real fucking brown noser.
Shit, man.
Yeah.
Are you Wesley Crusher?
I've been telling you this. I'm Wesley Crusher.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, no.
That's why I did a deep dive on Wesley Crusher's actor.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, back on track.
Yeah. LaForge, you put this in the script. I don't remember this part. LaForge has an existential fucking crisis, and it says he has a burning feeling and the room is too hot, and he leaves.
Yeah. Like he just, like, all of a sudden becomes like a space case. And I don't remember, like, because later in the show he gets existential about the fact that he's blind.
Yeah. But
I don't remember what exactly he's getting existential about in this scene. But also, like, so much of this script is really vague and, like, grabbing at straws. Like, I could not fucking remember what he was existential about, but he did, like, get kind of, like, a weird vibe. Yeah. I mean, he's like they're
kind of grasping at straws for, like, a, like, character thing for him to do.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's doing the thing where you get too drunk and cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I do a lot.
Theoretically.
Hypothetically, I've never touched alcohol in my life. Yeah.
So he dips.
Oh, this is my favorite part of this episode. Can I?
Yeah, go for it. So uncomfortable.
This is a 101 class. Listen to me. If you are trying to get laid, this might not be the worst example in the world.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. He takes off his fucking glasses.
Yeah.
And he's like, Yar, I can't see. I've never seen the way you can. I see better, but I don't see the same. I don't see the fullness of color. Let me touch your face and see, right? The whole thing is him, like, doing this whole, like, tortured poet shit.
Yeah, he's like a lost puppy.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you are that desperate.
I'm shaking my head as if I didn't fall for that shit, like, in college.
Listen, this is a much harder version of playing Wonderwall. And I genuinely don't, but, like, because we talked about this earlier, but later in the series, he's always like, I have no luck with women. Ooh, I'm Geordie LaForge. Bro, if you just want to get laid, like, just do that.
Yeah. But
am I being scummy right now?
No.
Is that a problem?
No, I don't think you're being scummy. I think that, like, he definitely has incel vibes.
Yeah. No, like, not that. Like, the part where I'm like, if you want to get laid, you could just do this, right?
Oh, I mean, I think that, you know, myself and the audience understands that you're joking.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm fucking around.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Under no circumstances should you DM a girl right now and be like, I'm so sad. Can I get some pussy? Like,
yeah, that's some big fuckboy vibes.
Yeah, don't do that. Just
it's not fun. It's
talk
really...
to women like they're people. I know that's really a novel concept.
Yeah. Do we want to, like, go through the actual recap bullet points?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to do this one? Because you're so into this scene.
This is so fucking funny because this is, like, I don't know how to describe it. It is like DMs that you send to that, like, if like the saddest man you've ever met sends to a woman or something like that, where it's like he's looking out the window, Yar comes in, he doesn't register her, and she calls, he doesn't, like, fucking care. He's looking out into space. Yeah, Yar, like, walks in front of him, and LaForge is like, help me not to give in to the wild things going through my mind.
That line, I was just like, like yuck, 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 yuck. Like I don't know if like nails on chalkboard or whatever like gives you that severe visceral physical reaction, but I was just like,
like that's workplace harassment, Mr. LaForge.
I've met this guy at parties, and I have not always known to run the other way.
Yeah, you phrase this very well in this. Yar goes into reasoning with a drunk mode and asks what he needs. Want some water, bud? You need some orange slices? Like,
yeah. Should we order some pizza? Get some Jimmy John's?
Put something in your fucking body, man.
Yeah.
And he says he wants to see again. Like, and she's like, bud, you can see better than I can. And he does the Darth Vader, let me look upon you with my own eyes. And he takes his fucking glasses off. And, you know, Yar says they'll talk later, and she takes him to sick bay, which is very clearly like, dude, you don't know what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
But he's putting these fucking schmoves on, right? Where he's like, let me touch your face. Let me touch your face. And it's just like, this is so like, I don't know, man. Like the most like desperate for pussy like voice possible.
Yeah, yeah. And she just like puts her arm around him. It's like she found him in the backyard being too drunk on the back steps and just puts her arm around him like, okay, bud, let's go back inside. And
he's like, I'm in love with you.
Yeah. And she's like, that's nice, honey. Like pats him on the back.
Yeah. So Yar takes LaForge back to sick bay, and LaForge is back on the bio bed having an emotional crisis. He's like, Doc, I've never seen a fucking rainbow, which like, I think that's genuinely like a good line of inquiry for his character. I mean, obviously you'd have to get somebody who's actually blind to get into this, right? Because I don't know if that's like something that like, you know, people who are actually from that community care about, right? But like, it would be interesting, the idea of like, oh, maybe Geordi has like something with like a resentment with his blindness or something like that.
Yeah.
It feels like he's missing something.
Yeah, like I'm sure that there's some kind of like emotional turmoil that they could tap into, but this is definitely a seeing person's idea of like the emotional turmoil of a blind person.
Yeah, well, and like when I, you know, my freshman year of college, I was on the American Sign Language floor, right? And one of the things that I think is really like a like not disabled person projecting something onto a disabled person is like, oh, you know, they were like, one of my friends told me like, I never am like, oh, it's so rough to not hear or something like that, because it's like, that's just kind of like whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's just because it's the first time that we've seen anything like with any level of emotional depth in these episodes, and I'm like, oh, maybe there's something here. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. No, but also when LaForge was like, I want to see a rainbow and a sunset and Worf's ass. It's like, yeah, you're missing out on a few things.
You are missing out on Worf's ass. And it's not like, I mean, okay, he's got his like visor so he can see, but it's not like...
Yeah, I suppose that like, yeah, like how does he like read people's expressions? Like, I wonder if he sees infrared or like a version of like radar. And it's just like shapes, but not colors. Like what?
It'd be really funny if like they showed it and it was like 70s vector graphics, like,
oh
like
the
fucking
God.
lines of an arcade machine. Seeing like a 3D modeled version of Worf's ass.
Also, can he see through clothes?
It's
or like to a certain extent. I don't know.
It's Star Trek, right?
I think they were not meant to question it this much.
Yeah,
but that's something that bothers me, is that they don't. There's not a lot of practicality to it.
I don't know. Maybe writers put more than like 5 seconds into this, please.
Yeah,
because this is an interesting line for a character that doesn't get that much.
Yeah, I feel like LaForge could have so much more going on. Like, I mean, yeah, his character is kind of done dirty, but anyway.
Yeah, Yar tells Picard about LaForge talking about wanting to see, and Picard is like, whatever, fuck you.
Yeah, Picard does not fucking care.
No, that has nothing to do with the big ship that he drives.
No, I don't know, but like I think of like the way that Sisko or Janeway would react to that, and they would like, especially, I mean, at this point, LaForge is not the chief engineer, but like they would have some kind of like personal reaction to that of like a member of their senior staff. Like, this isn't just some ensign like cleaning out relays. This is like one of your senior officers.
Yeah, well, Picard's like in these early episodes, Picard, like, it's always shown that he's never clearly emotionally capable, but like later on in the show, it's like it's shown very clearly that he cares a lot about like the individual lives of his crew people. It's just like early on, they're like, how do we make him? I suppose the best point of reference I would have is like this enlightenment ideal of like facts over emotions, right?
Yeah, he's very that.
Mhm.
He's your classic engineer. Like
Yeah.
he's someone who went to MSOE.
Correct.
Yeah. So you see Yar leave sick bay and she like wipes her hand on her head and she's obviously not feeling well, but she like leaves sick bay anyway. And it's like, babe, you work in Starfleet. Take your sick days. You're already in sick bay.
Yeah.
Just hang around, get scanned. But no, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They all have that fucking baby boomer work ethic, baby, where it's, I do what I want regardless of any kind of public safety. And what I want to do usually is my job that I don't even like that much.
Yeah.
So Crusher is like, I can't detect elevated body temperature, but visually he's like clearly like heating up.
Yeah.
He's got a fever.
Yeah. Yeah, and Picard is worried about spread, but Beverly is like, nah, dude, it's cool. We all used hand sanitizer. And she thinks that the root cause of like LaForge's issues is probably emotional.
Geordi is just having a breakdown, so it's not like
Yeah. But even if you're having like, let's say a panic attack, your heart rate is up and that ups your body temperature. Like you would read that. But
yeah.
I don't I mean, also this is being written by writers and not fucking scientists, so whatever. But
also people who have no experience with actual mental health care, as we've seen with Troy.
Yeah. But so then Troy says he's obviously confused and maybe intoxicated, and Beverly says there's no intoxicants in his system. I'm also just like, I don't know, man. You are on a starship in space. You're constantly running into random anomalous shit. The fact that you can't find any meaningful readings does not mean anything, dude. I don't know. Sometimes when the characters are doing this in the show, I'm just like, this happens to you like every week.
Yeah, every fucking day. There's some new fucking disease that you have to figure out.
Yeah.
Do your fucking job.
That's why I like Lower Decks so much, because it like acknowledges the everyday absurdity of working for Starfleet.
Oh yeah, no, none of it should be surprising that there's a new thing that you have no idea what it is.
Yeah. So we're back on the bridge.
They're back on the bridge. Data and Riker they're still trying to look shit up. Data, unfortunately, is using Go instead of Google.
Yeah.
So he's not finding those good results.
Riker's like, I heard Bing is really good.
Riker would use Bing. Riker seems like a Microsoft fanboy. I can fucking feel it in my bones. Yeah, and Riker is like, this is like looking for a needle in a haystack, and like Data is like, the fuck does that mean?
Yeah. Riker has a stroke of inspiration to look up historical records of all the Enterprises. Hey Data, go watch original series. Yeah, so Picard arrives on the bridge and Data finds some data. And what he finds is that on the original Enterprise, during a planetary breakup due to massive gravitational shifts, complex water molecules had acquired carbon from the body, creating similar effects to alcohol on the brain. This technobabble, like a lot of technobabble just does not make any fucking sense. This super does not make any sense.
The idea is that, like, yeah, planetary gravity fucked up particles of water and turned it into booze.
Yeah, so basically, like...
There's a more compelling version of this that happens in Futurama.
Oh, yeah.
Bender keeps making clones of himself, but they're all smaller. And they get to the point where they're microscopic and, like, at the atomic level, and they're rearranging all water molecules to make booze.
Oh my god. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but imagine if all the fluid in your body became booze.
You'd die.
Your brain would be pickled.
My brain is pickled.
Yeah, but
he sends it in a DM to Bev, and he's like, "Come on up here. We found a cure." Picard calls her up. He says they found a cause and a cure. Do you want to explain this one? Because I don't remember this part.
Oh, yeah. Picard is just, like, a little weirdly familiar with Beverly on the comm. Like, he just talks a little too casually to her. And it's like he almost forgets that there's, like, people in the room with him.
Yeah.
And, like, when he, like, hangs up, basically, he, like, you can tell that he's, like, a little embarrassed. And so it's like, oh.
He's got the hots for this redhead lady.
Yeah, but Picard is a little drunk and he's got the hots. I mean, as he should.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Also, if I was intoxicated in front of Beverly Crusher,
there's no holding me back as long as Beverly Crusher's cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm trying out all my moves.
Yeah.
I'm crying in front of her.
Oh my god. That would work on Beverly.
No, it wouldn't.
You don't think so?
No, I think she'd say, that's awful. You should see a therapist. And then walk away. Like she should.
Yeah, so we're over in Troy's quarters, and
Troy is like picking out outfits.
no, Yar is
Oh,
fucking around
Yar
in her.
is fucking around. Yeah.
Yeah, Yar. She just walks in, and Yar's in her apartment, and like rifling through her closet. And Troy is just like, "What the fuck? Why are you here?"
I'm in your walls, Dr. Troy. Fucking.
When Yar turns around and starts saying to Troy that like Troy wears the best outfits when she's off duty, Troy has the look on her face when a straight realizes that they're being hit on by a gay. like she just like is very like wide-eyed.
Totally was trying to fuck in this.
I mean, that's my headcanon.
Yeah.
But Yar is holding this dress up to herself, but it's like not her style.
Do you maybe want to try it on, counselor?
Did you ever have problems with your siblings stealing your clothes growing up?
No, because we were all different sizes. The only one who can do it is Ian. And that's because I'm wide and he's tall.
Yeah.
So we were this. I can steal Maddie's stuff now, too.
Mhm.
Maddie can hypothetically steal my stuff now.
Yeah,
But
Maddie would attest that you constantly steal her shit, which is funny because you're not even living in the same place anymore.
no. She has to remember that it's my right as her little brother to steal her shit.
I think that she would dispute that, but you know.
If she has a problem with it, she can steal something of mine.
As a twin, dude, that was like such a hallmark of our childhood, just screaming at each other for like taking shit from each other's closets.
Damn.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, like
why did you guys take shit from each other?
I mean, like a lot of times my mom would get 2 of everything, and oftentimes be like, get 1 half off if you buy 1, whatever. But like growing up, I wore the color yellow, and my sister wore the color like purple or something like that. Or if like yellow wasn't available, it was pink, and my sister was purple. Like kind of like I was warmer colors, and my sister was cooler colors, and like that's how my parents helped the family keep track of which one was which.
You color coded yourself?
We didn't. Our parents color coded
Your parents
us.
color coded
And
you.
to this day, yellow is still my favorite color, but my sister fucking hates, like, she wears all black now, so she has opted out. But, like,
Hell yeah.
approaching preteen years, my sister leaned much harder than I did into, like, I want to be an individual now. Because, like, I mean, we were definitely, like, my parents did their best, but, like, we're twins.
Yeah.
There was definitely, like, a group identity. And, like, my sister was trying so fucking hard to like try to amalgamate an identity aside from being a twin that like I think that just like, you know, was just a pain point of stress for her when I would like take her clothes, because she was like, damn it, I'm trying to like have my own identity.
So
don't take my shirt.
But this scene was really like
Yeah.
pulling back the idea of like, oh yeah, I remember this shit.
Yeah, I had fucking flashbacks during this scene, but yeah. Anyway.
Except you weren't getting hit on.
No, I was not getting hit on.
Troy was.
We were just screaming at each other. Yeah, but so Yar asked Troy for fashion and beauty advice, and that she's like looking for a vibe shift. And Troy's like, I can sense you're fighting something. What is it? Troy, it's the urge to kiss you.
Yeah. No, Troy is not familiar with lesbianism. Do they have like apparently Betazoid does not have pride, like
But Betazoids apparently don't have gaydar either.
which is ironic.
Yeah. But like Yara's like holding her hand and making intense eye contact and grinning. And she tells Troy, like, never mind, I can find what I want in the ship's store. And
I can't believe I didn't notice this. Your gaydar is better than mine.
Gaydar is also such a problematic idea, but like you also sense
We're gay.
Yeah, you can sense the vibes. But yeah, there's like these big gay undertones, and I'm wondering, were the writers teasing some lady on lady action, or am I just gay?
Okay.
Does this only seem gay because I'm gay?
I think they weren't teasing it, but I think we're also inferring our own ideas of like, what does it look like when someone wants to fuck someone else? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like looking back on the scene now, definitely like being like, you always have the best outfits outside of, off duty and stuff like that. And like being like, I'm looking for a vibe shift. Right. And like, that's horny. Like that's,
Yeah.
like I think beyond like us being like, oh, we're gay and this is a gaydar. Like if it was like Riker was like going up to Troy and being like, I'm thinking about changing my wardrobe. Can you help me? Because you always have the best fashion sense, right?
Yeah.
or something along those lines.
See, I'm imagining, like, if you want more a one-to-one, I'm imagining LaForge going up to Riker and asking that question. But, like, I think that scene would be just written differently, you know?
If it was two men.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because they would be sitting there and be like, well, you can have this type and grow a beard.
Yeah.
You know,
Or like, oh, Riker, your shoes are always so suave. Like, where do you get them? Like, what's their replicator program or
What's
whatever?
the replicator program. I think another way to read this scene is like, granted, I've never been in a women's bathroom. From every story I've heard, if you're drunk as shit and you go into a women's bathroom at like a club, there'll be like 10 other women to hype you up.
You are correct. You could walk into a woman's bathroom and there would be plenty of people to hype you up.
So it could literally just be like Yar is rifling through Troy's clothes because she's like, I always like those clothes, and then she's just like gassing her shit up. Like,
yeah, that's definitely possible. I mean, everyone's a little gay, and yeah, I don't know.
This does feel homo though.
Yeah. Also, I'm also thinking of like, I've just met so many straight girls who are like, I'm straight, but as soon as like when they get drunk, they'll be like, we should kiss.
No, true. No implication though that Yar is straight.
Yeah, no.
No one ever says that.
Well, no one ever says about fucking no one in the show is like explicitly straight. But
nobody's ever like, yeah, I don't swing that way or something.
Yeah,
because
because they never tread in that direction. Fucking, I just touched my boom again.
Which means that we can call whoever we want gay.
Yeah,
it's above board. Everyone can be at least bisexual.
It's like in a lease. Like you did not explicitly say I couldn't do this, so
I'm going to do.
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Fuck you, Star Trek.
Yeah, I was just telling Ryan earlier that I just re-signed my lease, and like going over the like minutia. Like at the bottom of the document, there's like weird shit like you can't tie your horse up outside the property because they don't remove laws over time.
Yeah.
But like it was one of those things of like if you don't explicitly state this,
I'm gonna tie my horse up outside your fucking building.
Shit. Ugh, I'm coughing up a lung. I'm fine. Sorry. Okay. Wow, off track. My bad. Anyway, so Yar is like, you're not like on my level. So she like pulls away, drops the clothes on the floor and like skedaddles.
Yar's like, I didn't even want it anyways.
Yeah. And Troy notifies Picard that Yar is infected. And Picard says that Yar has, quote, the equivalent of a snootful, but Data doesn't like know what the fuck that means again. And instead of explaining it to Data, Picard's just like, forget it. Like, why is everyone being an asshole to Data this episode? So I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like a snootful?
I thought it was like a Coke thing.
Well, so I looked it up. A snootful is the amount of any intoxicant, but it's like
Could
specifically. Well, so it's actually a really old term. So like, I don't know that it necessarily is about Coke.
Yeah, I know. It's just snootful.
Yeah, no, It really sounds like it. But it's the amount of any intoxicant that it takes to get someone intoxicated. And it can also describe the amount of BS a person can tolerate before they get annoyed. So, like, my snootful is not your snootful.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
it's not magic.
That's what he means. And also, like, I love that phrase, and I think I'm adding it to my repertoire.
I've had about a snootful today.
Yeah. I had about a snootful on your family's porch yesterday with that canned margarita.
Fuck yeah.
Holy shit, bud.
That was like 12.4% alcohol or some shit.
I was like, I'm going to drink like a third of this before the pizza comes. So I'll drink the rest later. And so I just like, I want to be like a little buzzed. And then I was just like, fuck, I'm drunk.
Those things are evil.
Hanging out with my in-laws. Like accidentally drunk.
Trashed on my in-laws' porch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it cuts to sick bay. Crusher she's working hard. Girl boss. Wesley shows up. He's sweaty as shit. He shows her the levitation fucking tricorder thing with his tractor beam bow thingy. Very, very like, Mom, pay attention to me, Mom.
Yeah. He does a lot of this. Like you were saying in like the first episode that he does the whole like skirt pulling, like Mom, pay attention to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor Wesley, because he's on a fucking starship and his mom is a doctor and his dad dead, so he needs attention.
Yeah. And Crusher's like, you should go home and worry about you getting infected. And Wes is like, fine, but you're stunting my emotional growth. Like, what is this? Young Sheldon? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? That's what's going on. It's young Sheldon just inserted into Star Trek, and that's like Wesley's storyline. You know what? I actually, until recently, had never seen Young Sheldon.
I've never seen it either.
But like at the gym.
You brought your Young Sheldon DVD and you were like, "Can you play this for me?"
No, they have those big TVs on in front of like all the machines.
Yeah.
So like you're sitting there and I'll be like listening to my podcast, but like I can't not watch a TV if it's in front of me. And it'll be like Fox News and like old CSI and then Young Sheldon. So I've like seen a little bit of it. And like, I don't know, it's not like as bad as I thought it would have been.
Everyone take note of that one. I'm going to bring that up several times.
I mean, like, it's not great.
Fucking obviously not.
Yeah, but I don't know. I was just watching it. I was like, you know what? It's not the worst cable TV I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If that's the fucking standard you have. I'd rather watch this than getting, skinned. Like,
you know what? I would rather watch season 1, Next Generation.
Yeah. No, I think that's truly, like, for me, the bar of, like, would I rather do this or would I pick up where I left off with Voyager? With Voyager, I was in the middle of season 1, and it's pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I would rather, go back and watch, like, the next part of Voyager or whatever.
Do you remember what season you were in?
Season 1, I think.
Okay. Yo, that's fucking why.
Yeah. No, yeah, I didn't do the correct thing, which was understand the premise of the show, and then skip to season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah,
Picard,
we're already.
Goes over the comm, and he's like, "Yo, you got a test injection, and no 10-4 on that one, Chief."
Yeah.
They cut to a random scene of at the corridor, and everyone's just like getting frisky with each other, man.
Well, like the opening shot is like basically from like mid torso to knees of Yar like sashaying down the hallway.
They're showing her ass.
Yeah. It's like one of the. That'd be a fun supercut of like the most blatant like ass shots on Star Trek, and that would be like the first one.
Yeah.
Yar lays a wet one on a random officer, and like watching this kiss, I was like, yes, I too like to nearly bash my partner's nose with my face. A fat lip is such a fucking turn on.
Yeah, dude.
Like they're just like conking each other on the noggin.
Yeah, dude.
It was really aggressive.
That is a drunk kiss, though.
It is a drunk kiss. Yeah, that's.
You ever like 10 beers deep?
Yeah.
Shit's not fun.
What kind of question is that?
I've never done that, of course.
No,
I've never broken a law. Yeah. Back on the bridge. Data is still sorting through data. Data is sorting through data from the Tchaikovsky. It's got a 41-minute download time.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking.
Yeah. Looks like they haven't upgraded to 5G.
Yeah, no, well, Data is running on Windows Vista, I'm pretty sure.
But Data is also like, I don't want them to implant a chip in like how they're like, 5G is like implanting a chip in your brain or whatever the fuck.
They don't want to literally plant a chip in his brain.
Yeah, except he is nothing but chips in the brain.
Yeah. Picard's like, what the fuck's going on, Data? Why is this taking so long? And Data's like, there's 8 months of field data. Shut the fuck up, Picard.
Yeah. And apparently the crew hasn't closed out any tabs in their internet browser in like a month.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi is really weak on the Enterprise.
Yeah, really gumming up the tubes.
Riker's special Ryzen porn is really fucking gumming up that like.
The Silkovsky's been downloading shit from Riker's OnlyFans, and like there's a bunch of bugs.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, there's a bunch of bugs in it.
Yeah,
it's been gumming up the computer.
Somebody fucking set a zip bomb on Tchaikovsky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we're in engineering. And Chief Engineer McDougal and her assistant Jim Shimoda are working at their stations. There's like a few different chief engineers throughout the first season or so, and like it takes a minute for it to become LaForge, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Picard's voice comes over the comm, summoning McDougal to the bridge, and then like a minute later, Shimoda is also ordered to return to report to sickbay, also via Picard's voice. And then who should show up but Wes? Also, LOL at Wes wiping his sweaty Ranku paw on his shirt before shaking Shimoda's hand. Like, I've never been so drunk that I've given people over-enthusiastic, sweaty handshakes.
Yeah, no, that's fucking hilarious. That feels like a very that sounds like a move that you would see like Trump do. Just
Yeah.
like very sweaty hand, like just fucking wiping on himself.
Yeah,
like
and not even like surreptitiously on his pants, just like center
straight
of the
down
chest,
his fucking
like
shirt.
solar plexus down to like belly button.
Yeah.
It was, oh my god, yeah.
Shimoda is like, if I leave, there's no one in charge of engineering. And Wesley's like, I can fuck it. I can handle it. I can just, watch, make sure things are okay. And
Yeah.
Shimoda's like, oh, sure.
You're just a buzz away.
Yeah.
And then like when Shimoda leaves, Wes puts his foot up on like a console or something, like Captain Morgan, and just like cheeses and surveys his domain. Like he's so proud of himself in this moment.
Fucking dweeb.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like, okay. This entire sequence of things is
Mhm.
like, you have access to anything on the ship.
Yeah.
You could do anything you fucking want. And he's like, I'm going to take over engineering.
Of all things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's the most like, again, like Striver. Like, these are the people in power. Fucking nerd wonks.
Yeah.
Like, no, you should be trying to like.
I was a tryhard, but I mean, also Wesley like orchestrated this. Like he orchestrated himself into like being in charge of something he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But like, if I were all of a sudden the only person in engineering as like a 15-year-old tryhard me, I would be fucking sweating bullets, which he already is, but like sweat bullets of anxiety.
The fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, or like it's just like someone who has like absolute confidence in themselves for no reason.
Yeah, so back on the bridge, McDougal shows up and Picard's like, I didn't call you. And then we hear the boatswain's whistle, and Picard's deepfake voice hands over command of the Enterprise to acting captain Wesley Crusher. And Picard is immediately as infuriated as only a stiff upper lip Englishman, fake Frenchman can be.
Yeah, no, he's very like, I think he's like very much like, I am the captain of this ship.
Yeah, it just like instantly bursts a blood vessel.
Yeah.
And then we hear Wesley on the comm thanking the recording and like gives a short speech saying it's a brave new day for Enterprise.
The latter part of this where like the reality of it's like, oh yeah, a drunk teenager is in charge of this gigantic ship. Some of the lines are kind of funny. Yeah. In engineering, Wes has he's commandeered engineering. He's putting up force fields using his Lego model, as you call it. I always view it as like a breadboard. Like, you know what that is? Like it's like a project thing for like soldering, learning to solder. It like looks like that kind of shit.
Okay. Yeah.
Got his fucking erector set that he made. And everyone's trashed and he's giving a stump speech. The present officers are absorbed. Promises dessert before and after every meal.
Yeah. It's like, could this writing be any more my character is a precocious child? Precocious child. Jesus,
I was thinking about this. Wesley feels much less like a teenager and much more like a 6-year-old.
Yeah, and even we were saying that in the way he's written in Farpoint too.
Yeah,
he's like the wide-eyedness and like the wanting dessert. Like, oh my god, like so childish.
Yeah, when I was 15, all I was thinking about was like, oh, I need to smoke the worst skunk weed underneath an underpass with my friends, which I never did. Do not. I have never ever done anything like that ever.
What was I worried about when I was 15?
It's like, yeah, it was like making sure like a girl thought that you were hot or something. For me, at least.
Yeah. I wasn't. I hadn't opened up that aspect of my character build yet.
Yeah, you didn't level enough.
No, at 15, I was like doing like a bunch of extra credit and volunteering at a summer camp, like all the fucking time. That's what I was doing with my time.
Right, but you weren't like, I want toys and dessert.
No. I was like a tiny grown-up.
Yes.
Yeah, my sister and I say that we were like little grown-ups, tiny adults.
I was exactly 15 when I was 15.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As you should be. Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah. Shimoda is like, he fucking stumbles into the field. And Wes points at his fucking thing and he's like, hey, I tapped into the ship's power. He's like, Shimoda, you want to come in? And Shimoda's like, yeah, Captain, let me in. And Wes lets the shield down.
Yeah. Yeah. And he addresses him as acting Captain Wesley Crusher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Real big goof. Also, I don't know, like other thoughts about this like a little later, but like the goofiness of Shimoda is like so childlike.
Yeah, he's like playing with like the data cards. As,
Yeah.
like, toys.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like portraying drunkenness is kind of hard to begin with, but
It feels almost like they're like, well, drunk people do stupid things. This is a stupid thing.
yeah, it's like they're asking themselves what's a stupid thing to do, not what's an actual drunk thing to do.
Yeah, the only accurate part of all this drunk stuff is like people getting like weirdly horny. They're not portraying the horniness correctly.
No,
It's much more awkward.
Yeah. I mean, it's awkward, but
not in the way that like drunk horniness is awkward, if you know what I mean. Where it's very much like you're like kind of nervous, but you have no inhibition, so you're like, hey. Like,
Ryan just did the pushing two fingers together like face, like that fucking got me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, so we're back on the bridge. Picard orders MacDougal and Riker to regain control of engineering. Worf is at ops, and he says there's misbehaving crew reported on all decks, and he's like so outraged by this. I love outraged Worf.
Worf, yeah, he's very he doesn't get drunk this episode, right?
No, so that's the other thing. Like they would have been so fucked if Worf had been intoxicated.
Yeah. No, could you imagine drunk Worf?
He would have obliterated the whole ship.
Yeah.
Like remember in DS9 where we get like, you know, what Klingon sex looks like and how fucking rough it is?
Yeah, dude.
He would have literally killed everyone on board with sex.
That's true. Although to be fair, Troy survives it later in the fucking.
Yeah, but I presume that Worf is sober and therefore like specifically gentle. I don't know that drunk Worf would like have a kind of dexterity.
Worf's a bottom. Yeah. He's like MacDougal and Riker. Picard tells MacDougal and Riker to take control of engineering. Worf is like, there's misbehaving crew on all decks. He's very mad. Data recites a limerick he heard from an officer on the shuttle bay.
Mm-hmm. And the quote is, there was a young lady from Venus whose body was shaped like a, and then Picard does not let him finish. What the fuck was he going to say?
Penis.
Body shaped like a penis? What the fuck does that look like?
Damn, she got that penis body.
Yeah, like, is that a type? Maybe this is like a 25th century
art theory?
Maybe.
Yeah, like instead of the hourglass figure, you have the penis figure.
Yeah. Oh my god. That'd be so weird.
Yeah.
I want to see that drawing. Would the balls be the butt or the boobs?
Butt, I presume. This is the bottom.
Yeah. It depends on your vantage point.
True.
Yeah, let's see. So yeah, Picard cuts him off and Data's like, what? I don't get why that was not appropriate. And the Worf's like, I don't get it either. And like, Worf not getting jokes just tickles me.
Well, I think it's funny because for Worf, it's kind of like, this is a socialized person who just doesn't think it's funny. Like, yeah. Also confirms that he's much more comfortable with his sexuality than Picard is. Because he's comfortable with someone saying penis around him.
Yeah, well, also, he's Klingon. They don't give a fuck about fucking.
No, yeah.
Yeah, like, culturally, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Picard calls for security, and security is very unprofessional on the comm, telling Picard to keep your britches on. And, like, you know, these Zoomers, I tell you, they don't know how to act in a virtual meeting. Picard asks about Yar's location, and Yar responds that she's busy in her quarters, like, call back later, bitch.
I am jerking off. Go away, Picard.
Yeah. Picard orders Data to go take her to sickbay, and orders all security supervisors to report to the bridge at once.
This scene, I've been alluding to this scene.
It's such a famous scene.
Roboner. Data arrives at Yar's quarters. She steps out. You called this a schmexy dress.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks like she's ready to go to Mad Planet, which is a club here where we live.
Mm-hmm.
I described it, I don't have my notes up, but I remember distinctly watching this and being like, what the fuck is with this I Dream of Jeannie fucking...
Yeah.
It's
like if a trash bag were a tree skirt.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
She has her fucking hair slicked back all weird.
And she has like a gelled and a curly Q to her forehead.
Yeah, like Superman.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? She reminded me like she was cosplaying the spider lady from Bug's Life, or it's a what is that movie called? Is it Bug's Life? Or
Which one?
It's a Bug's Life with the ants that Pixar did.
Yeah,
I
Bug's
think
Life.
Bug's Life. Okay.
Is there a spider in there?
Yeah, she's part of like that circus troupe. That came out when I was like the exact right age for it, so I super remember it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Data's like, you gotta go to sick bay, bitch.
Yar doesn't want to go to rehab.
Yeah, you're not ready to take some Tylenol, drink some water, and go to bed.
Yeah, no, she's like hitting her third wind.
Yeah. No, she just puked and rallied, dude.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
Data really does not know how to read this room. But he's like, oh yeah, I expect it's gonna take you a minute to change into your uniform. And she's like, oh no, I changed into this just for you. And then because you always have to put all your heaviest baggage on the table immediately.
She trauma dumps on him.
Yeah.
She's like, I had to escape from these fucking rape gangs on her own because she was abandoned at 5. And she escaped at 15. And now all she wants is gentleness and joy. Again, more of the like patented dating strategy, which will 100% work, which is just be very pathetic in front of another person.
Exposition is the best foreplay.
Yes. No, whenever I want to hit on a girl, I go up to her and I say, I did nothing but smoke cigarettes and drink Monster for 2 months when I was a freshman in college. And I didn't shower. And they go, yeah, damn. That shit's gonna be crazy.
You know what? That shit works on some people. Some people just have a soft spot for lost puppies.
And those people should always avoid them because those lost puppies are trying to manipulate you.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
I say that as someone who has a soft spot for lost puppies.
Yeah, like my sister.
Maddie is the first not lost puppy that I've shacked up with.
Maddie is a very found puppy.
Yeah. Maddie is, like you see those videos of dogs going on walks and holding their own leash.
That's Maddie.
Yeah.
Yeah. She asks him, you're fully functional, aren't you? And Data's like, he's been programmed with many techniques. She calls him a jewel, and he leads him to her bedroom, and Data gives a Pinocchio smile.
Yeah.
Closes the door, and the train goes in the tunnel. Okay, many questions about this.
Yeah.
1, can Data consent? Data, there's no way.
Yeah, because he operates mostly on rules dictated by somebody else, and like he does not really understand the difference between his own desires and what other people tell him he should be doing.
Yes.
Like that's a huge struggle for him throughout the show, is like distinguishing, and then like
does not have the necessary level of emotional intelligence too.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Yeah. 2, why can Data get horny? If he has a hard time understanding emotions in any level,
yeah,
how is he like getting sprung for Yar?
Yeah, so his creator was like, I'm not going to give you emotional intelligence, but I am going to give you the apparatus to really fuck up someone else psychologically.
Yeah. Yeah. 3, why did Dr. Soon give him a ding dong?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Fucking 4, can Yar consent in this situation? Data, clearly someone who should be able to act morally in this situation. He's been trained on all that shit. He should know you're not supposed to fuck someone who's intoxicated.
I mean, I think what we're learning here is that even Data did not get proper sex ed.
Poor Data.
Yeah.
Dr. Soon gave him a ding dong and then didn't give him, just program in like sex ed.
Not even like the ability to figure it out on his own.
Poor kid.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the whole like, you don't sleep with someone who's super fucking drunk. Just it's not a good idea. But Data doesn't fucking know that.
Yeah. Which is interesting because he's clearly able to like make moral calculations.
Yeah. But also it's like, up to this point, his ability to pick up on like the subtleties of shit it's not like he's set up in our minds we don't understand him to be able to pick up on someone hitting on him. Or like he picks up on the fact that she's talking about sex.
Immediately.
Yeah, like so fast. And it's
Has
like,
Data fucked before? Maybe he's socialized in this one situation.
He has never had sex before because later in the show, like she's super special to him because that's the only time he's been intimate.
Man, this sucks.
Yeah.
Poor Data.
It's really depressing when you're not a white man in the 80s writing this.
Yeah, dude. Like, This episode is horny as shit. Also, this scene is very funny to me.
It's very funny,
The
yeah.
I dream of genie shit. The like, I was gonna approach this in a much different manner. Where I was gonna like scream at the mic, like, "Oh, ding dong, robo dig, woo!" But like, I genuinely like, I'm like, why? Like, what? This even defy. You could have done this with anyone. You could have done this with Worf. You could have done this with fucking. You could have done this with Riker. Riker feels like the more the typecast for this. If he was like, blasted, it was like, oh yeah, the womanizer is obviously going to be. He's drunk. She's drunk. They're going to have sex.
I wonder if even this writing room was like, that's too low of fruit. And like, because Data isn't like, emotionally intelligent and like, he is a robot, that's why it's funny to them. But also like, it's locker room humor. And that's what was appropriate at the time and, or considered appropriate at the time and for a long while after, arguably still today.
I mean, I laughed at this scene when I saw it. I thought it was really fucking funny.
Yeah. I mean like there's an obvious layer of humor, but
I think it's just how much they miss it.
Yeah. It's just the writers had a blind spot and it's
robo dicks.
Yeah. Yeah, so funny and unfortunate scene. But yes.
Fucking poor Data. He's just getting stepped on this whole episode.
Yeah, no one's nice to him in this episode.
Now I finally understand the Data lore episodes.
I mean, like, LaForge is very cute with him in the next episode.
Yeah.
But even so, LaForge, like, later in the series, there's moments where he just kind of, like, laughs at Data. Like, if it were a human, it's the same way that adults laugh at children when they're being silly or, like, they're not understanding what they're not getting.
Yeah, and it's belittling.
Yeah, like, it's like, they're like, oh, they don't get that I'm laughing at them because they're a child / this is a robot. But, like, we see later, like, Data understands that he's being laughed at even if he doesn't understand it. And children also understand that. And that's how you wind up in therapy as an adult.
Yeah, Data needs a therapist. And he needs one that isn't fucking Troy.
Yeah. Oh, God. Fucking everyone on this show needs a therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we keep going?
Yeah, Picard contacts Riker and McDougal.
Picard's like, what's taking so long down in engineering? And McDougal's like, someone yanked out all the isolinear chips from the command computers. And he's like playing Jenga with them. And Riker explains Wes's like super Lego set to Picard. And like, this is how he's put up these force fields and this is the fucking problem. And Picard wonders about like shorting out power to the model. And McDougal has an idea for it, but she's like, this is going to take a minute. And Picard's starting to worry about the star explosion. And then Troy bursts into the room and calls Riker Bill. Also just like, Riker is so not a Bill. It's so funny. It's like when Maddie likes to call Harry Styles Harold.
Yeah.
Just like in the reverse. Yeah, but she's Schwasty and she's
surrounded by like a trash crew. It says being surrounded by the drunk crew has shown her a side of humanity she's never felt before.
Yeah.
She's horny.
Yeah. She's vicariously horny. When I was watching this, I was like, we've all been there, honey.
Yeah.
We've all had too many feelings at a party.
Yeah.
And Riker just picks her up like a fucking rag doll and to take her to sick bay. But she's like, wait, I thought we were gonna boink.
I think it's funny. Okay, this is another thing. I had this in my notes. Interesting to me that like Data, the actual emotionless robot, can be seduced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Feelingless automaton, literal steel, right? But Riker, someone who's like notoriously horny as shit, can't be fucked, right?
I mean, like, because Data does not have a lot of background understanding of like sexual expectations, he doesn't think like, oh, this is not the time, because he doesn't have that in his brain. I don't know. Like he's more naive in that way.
Yeah, Riker knows like I have shit to do. I can't be fucking right now.
Yeah. Also, I think that like they don't say this explicitly in the show, but I feel like Data's programming is set up to gravitate towards experiences in which he'll learn, especially about the human experience.
And yeah, boinking is one of those.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of how that happened. But also he's not, well, yeah, I mean, Data's not drunk at this point, but Riker's sober. Drunk Riker, I don't think would have said no.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Crusher makes the antidote, like I said earlier, on accident. From the medical database to sober everyone up, she makes them fucking like scrambled eggs and Bloody Marys.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Turns out the antidote is a full greasy plate at Ma Fisher's.
absolutely.
And a Gatorade.
Yeah, dude. It is my cure for a hangover, which is just walking over to my cabinet and seeing what I can put in my face.
Yeah, pretty much.
She hyposprays LaForge, who thinks it's a cure to his blindness.
Yeah.
He wants to see a rainbow or a sunset.
Yeah, he's still going on about that.
Yeah, which is weird.
These writers, they're working so hard to like pair people off and put them in these weird situations, but like when it actually comes to dialogue, it's so lacking.
Yeah.
And like we're on episode 3, you guys. It's not like you're at the end of the season and pressed.
Yeah.
Like what is happening?
No.
So fucking weird.
Yeah. Very weird. No effect on him though. Riker walks in like fucking wedding carrying Troy.
Yeah. He calls her Crusher, who does not answer. He can like screams at her again. Nothing. So he like walks over to her office and has to like shake her like earth to crush her. He shakes her pretty hard.
He does like a full like.
And she's like shaking baby syndrome now.
Riker gave her brain damage, dude. Crusher clearly kind of trashed at this point.
She feels more high to me than drunk.
Maybe she didn't get drunk. Maybe she was just like, I gotta smoke some doinks. I can't figure this out right now.
Yeah, she's got that grandmother's lover's ghost in her bottom drawer of her desk.
I bet Star Trek weed goes nuts. I bet they perfected that shit. They like grow it in hydroponics and shit like that.
Oh yeah. But I don't know. It's weird because they have synthale, which does not get you drunk. It's like NA beer.
What's the point of that?
I don't know. I mean, like I drink NA beer.
Well, like that's fine, but like, why make a whole thing where it's like, oh, synthale? I want to experience the taste of whiskey without getting drunk.
Yeah, like usually if someone's having a drink, unless it's like a explicit, like there's like mixed drinks that are like crazy colors at 10 forward, or it's synthale, and it's like either you're going hard with hard liquor or you're having NA beer.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are either, relaxing on a Saturday with an NA beer, or you are drinking a fishbowl.
Yeah. I mean, like maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but yeah, it's weird.
I know O'Brien drinks like stouts and shit like that later.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
She's like trying to think over the failed formula. And she's like, I think the water carbon complex might have evolved. I'm like, how? It's not genetic material. It's a molecule.
It's molecules. Yeah. It's a gravitational effect, apparently.
Well, it's a molecule that's affected by a gravitational effect.
This episode fucking sucks.
It's
man.
so stupid and confusing. I mean, I guess like DNA is like technically molecules, but like it's inorganic.
It's water.
Yeah.
I'm now going to just headcanon that this is actually the Futurama situation where there are tiny benders turning it into booze.
Yeah.
Crossover episode.
And,
That did actually happen. There's an episode where the original cast of TNG, or not TNG, of the original series.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a crossover and also a time travel episode.
Yeah. She follows Riker back to Troy, realizes he touched Troy and then touched her, and now they're fucking both infected.
And that he breached the COVID bubble.
Riker did not get his booster shot.
No.
Bev says they need to quarantine. Riker's like, fuck it. I need to go help reboot the command computers, though. Fuck you, Bev.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, but you're gonna like go infect other people. And he's like, well, if we don't find the antidote, we could all die. But also, if we can't get the engine to start, we're all gonna die. So there's like, it's a no-win situation. So I'm gonna throw caution to the wind. And like Crusher's getting an ulcer over this.
Yeah.
I'm also like just surprised that Riker got infected this late into the episode. Like just knowing Riker, or I guess like he isn't really Riker yet because they haven't established him as like the Riker that we know, who's just like maverick horn dog.
Yeah, this is pre-beard Riker.
He has such an adorable baby face, but I'm looking forward to the beard coming.
Beard Riker, Chad.
What does Chad mean?
Big dicked, fucking hard to explain. Being cool as fuck.
Okay, is it like cool, or is it like I'm cool?
It depends on the context.
Okay,
Because
Fuck.
being like, oh, this guy's like
it's too much shit to keep up with these days.
sometimes it's used ironically, sometimes it's not. Where it's like, oh, it's a fucking like. Sometimes someone will be like, oh, I did something awful, and I'll be like, oh, that's a fucking Chad move, right? It's just like to like make fun of them or some shit like that. But there's also levels of like Riker, beard Riker, unironically actually a Chad.
Okay,
Like the fucking Riker maneuver,
Mhm.
Chad activity, right? Dick swinging. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay, 4th act.
Yeah, Picard fucking puts Wesley up on the screen, and he's like, "Give me back control of my ship, young man." And Wes is like, "I'll do it. You just tell me what to do. I just want to do the stuff. Come on, let me do the stuff."
You know, I'd say that impression is about 20% on. You're not like fully off the mark. Yeah,
Thank you for the 20%. Not even, yeah.
Picard's like, this drunk baby's in charge of my fucking starship.
Wesley becomes a Marxist for like 2 seconds, and he's like, "Yeah, you only delegate though. Someone else does the actual work."
Yeah, and he's like, I'm just as qualified. I've watched a lot of YouTube about this shit. I'm good. Yeah, and then Picard's like, you might have realized that you feel a little funny and your judgment might be off. And Wes is like, oh, so you mean I'm drunk? That's why I feel strange, but also good.
Again, it's like someone who hasn't talked to a 15-year-old since they were 15.
Yeah,
wrote this character.
This script almost feels like it was written by an AI.
I would love to make an AI watch all of season 1 Trek.
Yes.
And then write a script.
Oh my god. Let's see. Do you want to take this one?
Oh yeah. Wes is like, what would you do if you had control of the ship? And Picard was like, I need to tow the Tchaikovsky. And Wes is like, I got this, dude. Don't even fucking worry. You don't have to take the keys away from me. I only had 3 beers. We're fine.
Yeah. He starts like extending his arms and touching his nose, like, see, I'm good. I'm fine.
I'm fine. And then the star's like, bitch, I am the drama.
Yeah.
And it hurls a fucking meteor at them, right?
The star goes supernova. Or does it? I think it just collapses. I don't know if that's technically supernova. But
Something like that.
Yeah, so like, shit starts flying everywhere. The shit literally hits the fan. Yeah, so they flash over to engineering where Riker and MacDougal are still trying to take down Wes's force field. And it feels odd to me that they gave up on reasoning with Wes so early. They like talked to him and Wes was like, no. And they're like, okay, fine. I have to do this the hard way.
Very interesting too, because I feel like Wesley respects Riker like a lot throughout the show.
Yeah. I feel like they're really handling Wesley with kid gloves and he's just shrugging them off. But I feel like if they were to yell at Wesley, like with who Wesley is, he would be like, oh shit, okay, here's the keys.
Yeah, he would have a breakdown.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, like if
he would shit his pants.
Yeah, no, like if Riker was like, young man, I'm disappointed in you, Wesley would cry.
Yeah. Yeah, it also flashes over to sick bay where Crusher is still cramming for the exam, and her hair is like a mood ring, and it's reading as anxious.
This entire episode, her hair is acting like very a lot. It's for a lot of people. Like Yar, they use the hair as a way of showing horny.
Yes, yeah.
Unfortunately, they can't do this technique with Picard. But
yeah. What if he just started growing hair because he was so horny? Oh my god, what, like Pinocchio, except you're like
your hair grows if you're horny.
A chia pet and you just start sprouting a fro when you're horny.
Yeah. So on the bridge, Wes has activated the tractor beam on the actual ship, not his model, and has locked onto the drifting ship.
Mm-hmm.
Data fucking plug walks onto the bridge, and he does like the super lean
in the turbo lift.
Bro is posing.
It's pretty great.
Yeah. Picard is like, oh great, at least you're functioning. And Day is like,
big winky face.
Yeah, very freshman in college, just got laid for the first time.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Is his line read like Picard's like, oh, at least you're functioning, and is Data just like fully? Is that his line?
I think so.
Like,
yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah. Oh my god, the writing really falls short in most of this episode. This exchange.
No, I like the idea that Data is like kind of big dicking himself.
He's so like, sassy.
Yeah. Picard's like, you fucking dink. Robots can't get drunk.
Yeah.
And Data's like, au contraire. Mon Capitan.
Mhm.
And then he's like, we're more alike than you think. And he makes too much eye contact with his own figure. He looks at his own figure.
It's like a stand-in for Data standing in front of like a long mirror and helicoptering his dick.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I did.
That's my favorite episode where Data helicopters his dick too hard. Dude.
But because he's Data and he's bionic, he like actually lifts off the ground.
Like fucking Tails from Sonic.
Or like he's like those like fan boats that are like on the Everglades, and he just like starts motoring forward.
Yeah, through the fucking Enterprise. Hell yeah.
He actually has Heelys built into his feet.
Hell yeah. They should have done more Inspector Gadget shit with him.
His head fully turns 180.
Yeah.
He's like just, oh my god.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
He goes to lean on something and falls like a
Picard
cut
makes
tree.
a really good point though. How is Data getting drunk? He doesn't need to drink anything. There should be no liquid in his body.
Yeah. Do you think this is like an allusion to cum and like robot cum being like the vector of infection?
I have no idea what you mean by that sentence.
I don't.
Bro,
Did they use protection?
does Data come?
That's what I'm asking. Yeah. Like did Dr. Soong or Song
Soon?
whichever did
Yeah.
the dude that make him like give him the whole facsimile of the experience?
Or does he like, okay, maybe he has like a cooling system where that uses water or something like that?
Oh man, would that just like fucking burn a hole through Yar's uterus? Like that
Hit
doesn't
Robocom?
Yeah.
Nah, I bet that shit's like, you ever seen one of those dildos with like the fake cum? I bet it's just like
No.
that. You've
Oh my
never seen
God.
one of those?
No. What do you put like fucking Pop-Tart frosting in there? Cut that shit out. That's disgusting.
I'm putting that in.
No.
I'm keeping that in. That's funny.
No, don't. I'm really scared for like my family to listen to this now. This is the reverse of people using tampons soaked in vodka.
You think so? Like Data's cum got turned into.
Like how else, you know? Like he's
But
had contact.
you're presuming he has cum. He could just be firing blanks.
He could, but like I presume that some aspect of the sexual contact is what infected him. Doesn't he have contact with LaForge while he's infected?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Because like
Maybe he got. Yeah, is there water in his dick or something?
I don't know.
When he
like,
gets hard, is there like to simulate dick? Like, does it like come out like a tripod thing? You know what I'm talking
It's
about?
a non-Newtonian liquid.
What is it? What is his dick? Does Data even? Okay, it could be that he doesn't even have a dick.
Yeah, we're assuming that they did penetrative sex. Like he could have just like
Could have had a puss.
he could have just gone down on her.
Yeah.
Or he has like Inspector Gadget hands and like he just has like flips out a dildo out of his wrist.
Gadget. Fucking.
Who knows?
This is. I was thinking about this for like several days after I watched this episode. Like,
I mean,
how
how
does any of this work?
How can you not? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I say,
Is Data just really good at like finger banging?
yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But he's acting real big dick for just like finger banging.
I feel like you can walk away from a sexual experience without penetrative sex and still feel all powerful.
That's true. I've done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I don't think that it necessarily means that like we're talking about robo dildo shit going on here. But yeah, it also, here's the thing. So many unanswered questions we're not going to know. I'll also bet you that there's absolutely some porn out there or like fanfic. Absolutely.
I bet there's like a secret like show Bible that tells you exactly
Yeah,
how
like
Data's dick work.
Like an unspoken
rule.
like world building about this situation.
No, it's not unspoken. I guarantee you there's like a binder somewhere.
Or like an
There's
oral
a binder
history.
There's a binder that is like
If
as
it were in
thick as like Das Kapital, right? That's just labeled how Data's dick works.
If it were in writing though, it absolutely would have like made it out to the fan base at this point.
You don't know.
What if it's just like Roddenberry's body is like in his coffin holding like cross-armed like Egyptian pharaoh style the only copy
Of how Data's dick works.
Yeah.
It's like that scene in Indiana Jones where he goes into the fucking basement in Venice and they have to go find like the Night Tomb to get the encryption on the shield, and you do that with Gene Roddenberry and you find out how fucking Data's dick works.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so Crusher appears.
Crusher, she comes out of the turbo lift and she's like, it's private. It's urgent. Go into the ready room.
Yeah.
And Picard's like, okay, this will be
Yeah.
normal.
This is also Roddenberry writing in his like
MILF Dream Woman, which
yeah.
fair.
Yeah. Well, also remember that he had affairs with secretarial staff when he worked at the police department.
Yeah. Also weird though, because his self-insert, also Beverly's mom, paging Dr. Freud.
This shit gets so convoluted. Yeah. Yeah.
All I know is that this whole scene is Jean-Luc Picard being very uncomfortable when a woman comes on to him, and I get it. I get being flustered by like a hot red-headed woman being into you.
You know what? Same.
Yeah.
Did you notice that his ready room is on the opposite side of the bridge than it is later on in the show?
Yeah, it also doesn't look the same.
No, it does not.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Fucking where's the continuity, you fucks?
I am interested as to why they changed that. I wonder if they were like, his room doesn't feel like CEO corner office-y enough.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know, but
yeah, no, they get in there. Bev is like, she's messy drunk. She is like fully like, if you see someone like this, you are like, all right, champ, bedtime, water, let's go.
Yeah.
You know?
She's like singer sitting on a piano mode on Picard's desk.
Yeah, she is fully trying to put the fucking schmooves on him.
Yeah. And Beverly is like, the effect is like alcohol for like the 300th time, in case you were just tuning in.
Yep.
With like the same lack of good judgment. And she's like, for example, I find you extremely, and does not finish her sentence. And is just like, gets something lost in his eyes for a second. And then she's like, but we don't have time for that sort of thing.
This is like a pretty, I thought this scene was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because I think it's kind of funny to watch Picard, who's like this like total like kind of like stick up his ass kind of whatever, try to navigate a scenario where like somebody is like kind of horny at him.
Yeah. I thought that they were actually pretty cute in this scene.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought it was like fun in a like, both of them give the vibes of like divorcees who are finding out that they can have fun again. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this episode is almost worth it for this scene because it's heartwarming and cute.
Yeah. It's like not like horny in a like
Not
gross way.
Yeah,
it's just kind of like, oh, look at how fun this is. Like, feel very rom-com.
Yeah, and at the end of this, we're not asking ourselves, does either party have the capability to give consent in this moment?
How does, not once was I was like, how does Picard's dick work?
Yeah. I mean, also, that's totally why they picked Data for that scene, to give the audience the opportunity to ask that question.
Yeah, deep philosophy. How do you make a robot dick work?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so like this is interesting because you see both the worst part of like romance in Star Trek and the best part of romance in Star Trek in this episode.
It was the best of scenes. It was the worst of scenes.
It was season 1.
Yeah.
She goes with the line though, I'm a woman. I'm in need of a man. And Picard's like, not now, doctor.
Yeah. His delivery of not now is like, not now. Like just
very
very
soap opera.
It's very Shakespearean.
Yeah. Not now,
I mean,
doctor.
I think that's what he was doing before this.
Yeah, no, he's actually very well known, like Shakespeare actor.
Yeah. I know that he like toured like playing Hamlet with the Shakespearean whatever company after Trek.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he was doing that before this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
walk of shame to the turbo lift. Very awkward wave.
Yeah. Yeah, like oh my god, so god awful. You wouldn't know that they were jiving so well in the ready room. It's like as soon as they're in front of other people, he loses, not that he was like slick to begin with, but he's just like he goes from being cute to being like uncomfortably awkward to the point of like not being even really sure that he's into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. But yeah.
Picard, very not into voyeurism, does not want other people to see it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely
very
not.
Private. Very vanilla, I imagine.
Think of him on Ryza. Like when he goes to Ryza and
he just wants to fucking read.
Yeah. You know, I was also thinking, I wonder if Worf has a higher tolerance to the polywater because like his baseline is blood wine,
Yeah, no, he's
which
just
is, like,
always
fucking
drinking.
Everclear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, dude is like Worf could put away more than like the rest of the crew combined
Oh yeah. Yeah.
because he's a fucking Chad.
That's gonna be a bingo space.
Ryan says someone is a Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah, star fucking collapses and there's plasma fucking coming away.
Mm-hmm.
And Picard is like, Worf, take us out of there. And Worf tries to do the musical chairs, but he can't get control of the helm.
Yeah, he's like, because like everyone's out sick. It's like, you know, fucking at when you walk into an Arby's now and there's like one person manning the cashier and like flipping the
Fucking
grill.
burgers, yeah.
Yeah. He's like trying to like man different people's like ops.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, once more, the steering wheel does not work. Yeah, so back in engineering, Shimoda is making it rain isolinear chips, and McDougal finally shorts out the force field, and she runs up to Shimoda and she grabs the chip and holds it up into his face. In her like Karen voice, is like, "These are control chips," while he's like continuing to throw them around.
Yeah. He's fucking making it rain. Picard calls in. He needs the engine control like yesterday. He's like, Broski, what the fuck are you doing down there? And McDougal's like, but someone pulled out all the control chips. Wes says it was an adult who did that. How'd you feel about that?
On the one hand, it's a funny line.
Yeah.
But it's also like, Wesley, you fucking made this problem.
Yeah. You don't get that's what I thought was funny.
Yeah.
If they're like, oh, maybe if we make Wesley like a little bit of a dick, that I think that'd be funny. Like, I don't know, like they kind of leaned into it where they were like, oh yeah, Wesley is a petulant child and you're supposed to hate him.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. So we've got T minus 14 minutes to impact from hot star garbage. But it'll take longer than that to put the chips back in place. And I don't know how it's Wesley that thinks of this, but Wesley's like, oh, Data could do it in a jiffy. And then like it cuts back to the bridge and Data does the dopiest smile.
The second happens after he fucks. Data is very cool in this episode. I think they give Wesley all of this shit because they want to establish for his character, like, oh, he's really smart. You guys should care about how smart Wesley is.
Well, it's like they're establishing that he's smart, but also so fucking dumb.
Yes.
So we're in our last act, and
Riker like brings slapped Data in, and he's like, "No time for play. Do this shit. Get it done."
Yeah, he's like real intense in this moment.
Yeah, because he's about to die.
Yeah. I don't know. Just again, they're still trying to establish the characters, and
they don't have Riker down.
He's intense, but in a way that doesn't feel grounded in like an actual character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Wes pulls up the view screen on an access panel, and he sees the hot garbage chunk somersaulting over towards them, and he just like gets sober real fast. Which makes sense. I think I would too.
Yeah, me too.
When you're watching Star Trek, does the existentialness of them, the fact that they're in the middle of space, in the middle of nowhere, no one's nearby, and then there's the only thing between them and space is like the hull. Does that ever like get to you?
No, but that's interesting. That did hit me like sometimes when I was like for watching around the first time, and it's like, you know, Picard looking out at space from his fucking office window. It's like the only thing separating you from space is glass.
I think it's in world, I think it's technically transparent aluminum or something.
Who fucking cares?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, but there's like, I don't know. I always find it funny that like, oh, the people who were originally making Star Trek were like, yeah, it's totally plausible that a version of aluminum would work as like plate glass in space.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I'll be watching Star Trek and I'll just like get really ooked out about the fact that they're in space. I need to like get up and walk around and come back.
Yeah.
Like,
and especially when it's like, oh yeah, we're about to fucking die in the middle of nowhere in space. There's no one that can help us with this.
Yeah, or like the Borg episodes for sure. But
that is like that one hit me with Voyager way more.
Yeah, because they're like truly lost.
Yeah, when it was like, oh yeah, we're in the middle of nowhere. For me, that would be like oh, we're thousands of miles, billions of miles away from where we need to be. I'm gonna go unload a phaser into my head. Like,
yeah, like watching Star Trek when like things like Interstellar and what was that one with Sandra Bullock?
Gravity.
When those came out, I was like, oh yeah, I can totally watch these. I like sci-fi.
And space is scary in those.
Yeah, like watching Interstellar, that's about as much space scary as I can handle. And then Gravity came out after, and I was like, okay, this looks really cool. I know I can't watch this.
Yeah, have you ever seen Alien?
Oh yeah, yeah,
You're fucking in space. You're the only one on this ship with this fucking xenomorph. Like,
yes. Alien definitely really got me too.
that one was a big one for me.
I watched that for the first time the other year with Maddie.
Nice.
It was very satisfying to watch that for the first time. Well, for her, the first time.
Nice.
But anyway, yeah. Riker asks how long this is going to take, and Data's like, this will take slightly longer than we have. And he's like back to being like robot stoic.
He still seems a little like trash. Like he's doing like side to side thing. That
yeah, or like I know that I'm told that I'm this kind of drunk where like you'll be watching this person drink and you'll be like, oh, they're drinking, but they don't really seem drunk. And then like an hour in, they look at you and they're like, I'm trashed, and you're like, what? like that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from Data right there. Like he's like holding it together, but
he's just kind of smiling and having a good time.
Yeah.
Like,
but then Riker notices that he's sweating too. And he's like, oh no, I can't afford to get this. Like everyone's internal monologue for the last 2 years.
I can't afford this, man.
Yeah. Like shit, I
Gotta go
got
to
shit
work.
to do.
Picard goes to see Beverly in her office, and he calls her Beverly, and he
No,
corrects himself.
he calls her Bev.
He calls her Bev.
It's so cute.
Ugh.
Warms my heart.
Yeah. And he corrects himself, and she's like, "Oh, are we being professional now?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. In that case, it's chief medical officer to you. And,
Yeah. The way that Beverly's leaning on her desk and like with one knee on her spinning chair, this scene would have been so fucking good if she just ate shit like in the middle of sweet talking Picard.
that would have been very funny.
I would have loved that so much.
Crusher's like, she's like, "Oh shit, what was I doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And Picard is like, "You're holding a hollow spray," and she's like, "Oh yeah, I gotta go give Geordi this cure."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she does.
She has ADHD.
Okay, we're in engineering now.
Data is putting the DVDs back in the DVD tower in alphabetical order.
Mm-hmm.
Oh fuck, that's a good one. Emily, everyone give Emily a round of applause for that one.
I don't know. I like writing in my jokes into the skeleton. It just makes it a little easier.
It's a good joke.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed that one.
Haha, funny. Wes is like, "Riker, check this shit out," and Riker's basically having a fucking crisis.
Yeah, he's so not interested. But Wesley's talking about reversing the fields. And then Wesley looks at his Lego set and like thinks out loud about making the model more powerful. And then he has this like epiphany about turning the ship's tractor beam into a repulsor beam. And MacDougall's like, "Bud, that would take weeks to code." And Wes is like, "No sweat, you just gotta do it. Just like draw the circle and then draw the rest of the face."
I fucking hate him. I'm okay, it's totally, I would like his character more if it was like he was a precocious dick, but he constantly fell flat on his face.
Yeah, like if you were at least like clumsy or something.
Yeah, make him clumsy, or like make him something where it's like, oh, what if Wesley is just like wrong?
Mm-hmm.
What about that, right? Or
What's
what
the-
if someone else came up with the idea? What if it was just Data? Because Data has a gigantic, basically fucking like library's worth of information in his brain. Why does it have to be Wesley?
What's the name of the woman who did the scam about testing your blood with one drop through the mail? Maddie was just watching a documentary about it, and I can't remember now. But like Wesley is that woman if she were actually smart and actually invented
was
that
right.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like charming and like, very bubbly and also crazy smart.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Okay. Crusher gives LaForge the cure, and he immediately sobers up. He's like, "Oh shit, what was I doing? Rainbows, sunshine. Who fucking cares? I live on a starship. I can't even see those anyways."
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
What does he see on a holodeck? Because like you would think that he
Titties.
just sees the Matrix, right? Like when he's walking onto a
Well, it's the
holodeck,
same.
it's already a facsimile.
No, wait, I'm pretty sure the thing captures light.
Yeah, so I think the idea is that it's light based, and like that kind of makes sense because like what you're seeing at any given time is just
Is-
refracted light.
Yeah.
But then the fact that it's solid, I guess that's basically just like super like tricky force fields maybe.
Yeah, well, because you can also get touched by something in the holodeck.
Yeah, I think our problem is that once again we're thinking too hard about like
Sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
It's techno babble.
yeah. But I just like walk myself into these issues all the time. I'll just be like, how in the fuck does the holodeck work for LaForge? That should just look like the numbers from the Matrix for him. And then I'll be like, Emily, it's a TV show. Shut up and just enjoy it.
It's that line from the Mystery Science Theater opening. If you're wondering how he eats and breathes and other science facts, just think to yourself, it's just a show. I should really just relax.
Yeah.
Crusher turns around and inoculates Picard and herself. She gives it to Picard, and they go sicko mode, and they fucking give it to everyone on the crew.
Yeah. Also, when she gives the pepper spray to Picard and is like, hey, go like shoot up everyone you find. And he just gives her the cutest, like, okay, Bev. And like just gives her big goo eyes. It's like, they're like teenagers around each other, and I love it.
Yeah, it's again, it reminds me of like, well, I've been married for 35 years, and I'm just remembering now that I'm allowed to have fun as a person or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so down in engineering, Picard walks in, and Riker says he's not confident that they have enough time, so Picard starts inoculating the crew members present, and Wes manages to finish inverting the tractor beam, and he's got, like, big cocaine eyes.
He's fucking...
He activates the beam and pushes the Enterprise away from the Tsiolkovsky, which buys them enough time for Data to finish inserting the chips. Okay, I know we were just talking about how like we're not supposed to think too hard about this, but that is not how physics works. If you are a thing with more mass and you push against something in a vacuum that has less mass than you, the thing with less mass moves. You don't move yourself. It's like if you're in a pool and you push yourself away from the pool wall does not move. You move.
Yeah, so hypothetically, you could just couldn't just be like, oh, we're just gonna keep the fucking repulsor beam on this, and then we can just push away from it.
You know, I guess the other question is like, does the hot lava garbage have more mass than the ship? Because then in that case, it might make more sense to use the repulsor beam on the hot garbage. But yeah, but like the idea is that the Enterprise pushes itself away from the Tsiolkovsky, and that gets it more space before the hot garbage hits it. But yeah. I don't know. Like when I'm not kidding you. When I was watching this scene, I yelled at the TV with my arms in the air like fucking Bernie Sanders. Like, that's not how physics works.
Fucking dweeb.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough.
Yeah. So the hot star garbage hits and obliterates the Tsiolkovsky.
Rest in peace. They died how they lived, partying really fucking hard.
They died as they died because they were already dead. Yeah. And Riker sends an order to the bridge to engage engines, and the ship jumps into warp in the nick of time.
Yeah, fucking later, they're on the thing, and...
The bridge?
The bridge. There's like 3 rooms that this show takes place in.
Yeah.
LaForge is sobered up, and he's like, what the fuck pushed us out of the way? And Worf is like, oh, it was Data. And somebody was like, oh, it's Wes. And Picard's like, it was both. And Worf is like, oh, what? And then
it's like the double take he does is really satisfying.
Yeah, no, because it's like, yes, Worf, you're right to think lowly of Wesley Crusher.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Worf is not given much to work with in this script, like for this episode, but he delivers well.
Michael Dorn is a good actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Beverly is like, yeah, it's my boy. That's my son, man.
Super proud mama. And it's like, okay, but he was like the majority of this problem. Like, yes, everyone was drunk, but he gummed up the engines.
Yeah.
Like he just like fucking, he opened the hood and just like poured silly putty into the engine.
The engine, yeah. Riker's like, yeah, I suppose you ought to include Wes in your captain's log, and Picard agrees and said he should give him his science teacher a mention too.
Yeah, and the rest of the senior staff return to the bridge. And when Yar comes in, she sees Data, and Data's giving her this, like, so how do we want to kind of handle this face?
And Yar handles it wrong.
Poorly.
Yeah.
Yar goes up to Data and is like, I'm going to tell this just once. It never happened. And Data looks like uber confused. I'm like, dude, this is like some fucking sad shit. Because like, if you are someone who reads Data as on the spectrum, this is like some sad shit about like masking and like, or like it reminds me of people who date fat people, and the one person's like, I'm hiding you from my friends because I'm embarrassed I'm dating a fat person.
Yeah.
But except like, as an autistic person. Like, it's just fucking sad that she's...
Yeah, it is very much so that, like, you as, clearly, like, Data is, like, clearly just, like, autistic, right?
Mhm.
You as an autistic person, you're good enough to fuck, but you're not good enough to be in a relationship with or even acknowledge that I had sex with you, right?
Yeah.
But beyond that, like, if we look at this quite literally in, like, a literal sense, right?
Mhm.
Like, what quite literally the base of what the show is showing us, right? Data is a newly sentient being, right?
Mhm.
You fucked him, and now you are going to leave him with that for the rest of time with no help.
Yeah, and it's like she was the one who came on to him, and like you could talk about like, can she give consent when she's intoxicated, but also like she's basically coming on to like someone with the emotional intelligence of a 4-year-old, and
Also an automaton who is coded to do what you say.
yeah,
Yeah,
and like you haven't asked him how he feels about the situation. Like if you're going to proceed as if he like has autonomy in that situation, which I would argue that he doesn't.
Yeah.
Or at least not in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it just really reads as
Scummy.
like sexual trauma.
Yeah. No, and it's like, at least acknowledge it. You can't fucking do that to him.
Yeah, like you can say like, had a good time. Don't want to do that again.
Or you could say like, I think that was a mistake, but I think we should talk about it, right?
Yeah, but no one ever in Star Trek handles this shit well.
No.
I can't think of a couple that had a smooth run.
Jadzia and Worf, while they're not good, I think are the most regular.
Yeah, but they're rocky as fuck, dude.
They are.
Yeah, and like Miles and Keiko have a pretty rocky relationship, and like Cisco and Cassidy have a pretty lovely relationship, but like
She turns out to be a member of the fucking Maquis.
Yeah, but she's still like she's a good person, and they resumed their relationship when she gets out of prison.
Yeah.
Casual, the captain is dating an ex-con.
Yeah, because Cisco has the biggest dick in history.
But like at the beginning of their relationship, when they're first getting serious, he gets cold feet and does not handle it well. He handles it like a fucking idiot. And his friends call him on it, and he goes back to her and he's like, "Hey, I screwed up." And she's like, "You're right. Yeah, we're still together, but you're in the doghouse for now." And he's like, I get that. But like, yeah, it's not smooth sailing for them either.
To be fair, no relationship is going to always be smooth sailing.
That's fair, but it's just...
It seems unusually not smooth. Unusual problems to have.
Consistently bad communication, which like also mostly written by white men. Like obviously, like we know that there were women in the room.
It's not uncommon in relationships too. Like,
yeah. You know what? Maybe it's just that we've been to therapy.
Yeah.
And I've been to couples counseling with Maddie too. And like we're fine. We went to couples counseling because things were good.
Yeah.
We were like, things are great. Let's make sure it stays that way.
Yeah. Well, and it's like thinking about it from this perspective, right? It's not uncommon for any of this to happen, right? Like that's a thing that happens in relationships. It sucks. It shouldn't, but like.
Yeah. But also it's just like, on the one hand, realistic, sad but realistic, but also Roddenberry's trying to like write a perfect society, and this is not that.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with Star Trek, right? It's hard to have characters that are exist in a perfect society but don't have flaws.
Yeah, and then like make a interesting story out of it.
Yeah.
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 So that's kind of the end of the episode.
Yeah, Picard in his like last thing, he's like, I believe my new crew will work out well if they can avoid temptation. Hating on my boy Data for boning up, for shacking up, which he shouldn't have done, but also like, at least like, I don't know, someone be nice to Data this episode.
Yeah. Also with that line, I was like, okay, Odysseus.
Yeah.
Weird. Fucking weird. Weird episode.
Weird episode.
Yeah. So our next episode is episode 4. Code of Honor.
It's racist.
Should we do our wrong guesses only of a synopsis?
Code of Honor is about Data going to Worf to learn about honorable combat, and it's about him coding in honor.
That is fucking hilarious because I was thinking of this one like when I was making my notes.
Yeah,
and my synopsis is 50% the same as yours. Worf gives Data dating advice, not how to be a douche canoe and honor Klingon women in their boob windows. Data writes new code into his matrix to accommodate this new knowledge. IT issues ensue. That's what I got.
Yeah, we want to yeah. Really what I want out of TNG more than anything, fuck all this like weird sci-fi bullshit. Give me episodes where people are just trying to teach Data things.
I mean, we do get that later.
I know.
Yeah, but yeah.
Oh, this is the one where he becomes a dad.
That's such, oh my God, that's one of my favorite episodes. We could do what's on the holodeck.
What is on the holodeck?
Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. So I was still feeling like there was a hole in my life after I finished The Witcher.
Yeah.
And
podcasting cannot fill a video game hole.
Well, but we delayed because you were sick and then at school, and then I got sick, and shit happens. And then I tried to fill the podcasting hole with like doing too much homework ahead of time. But yeah, so I was like, I need to fill this video gaming hole in my life. And I was like, fuck, I really like The Witcher. I like how it's set up. I like the complexity and the open world aspect of it. What else can I play? And I was like, okay, well, I was already thinking I want to play God of War.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I don't really know how the women are like portrayed in that. And like
the first 3 God of War is not good. The 4th God of War, stellar.
I've heard Freya is really interesting.
Freya is by and large the best character in that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I think so. And at least in my opinion, and like Kratos is a really good character in that, but Freya has this really interesting relationship with her son. In this sort of idea of like her son is a shithead, like an awful person, but she absolutely does. And Kratos' whole shtick is like, oh, I kill gods. This guy's being a dick to me, so I'm going to kill him. The whole thing is like she helps Kratos sort of unwillingly knowing that his plan is to kill this guy, right? And then as time goes on, you see all of this shit happen with it.
Mm-hmm.
Super fucking fun. Very good writing. Super fun to see like her as a character react to how Kratos acts. The whole point of this sort of thing is like, yeah, Kratos is like a horrible monster, and not in like in the first 3 games, it's like, oh, Kratos is a horrible monster, and it's this one, and it's like, what are you? You're a father. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah. So that's on my list.
Yeah.
But I specifically Googled like women who play The Witcher. What do you play where the women are actually 3-dimensional characters? Not that the women aren't 3-dimensional characters in The Witcher entirely, but it's like either your tits are out or you're an old woman and your wrinkles are really badly rendered in this video game.
I haven't played The Witcher. Is Yen done well?
I think that both Yen and Triss are done well. Most of the
companions are.
Yeah, my gripe is that in the game you have the option to have sex with every major female character that he comes into contact with, which is like, women are not just for fucking.
You also have the option to have sex with every male character you come in contact with.
No.
I swear to God, I thought you could make Geralt gay.
No.
Can't you fuck, what's his name? Jaskier?
I think it's, Jaskier is Dandelion in Polish, and his name is Dandelion in the books in the game.
Can you fuck him though?
No.
What?
No. Yeah.
Unfortunate. Not a twink fucking simulator.
I've seen that some people have like downloaded mods where they can play as like they play the game as Geralt, but like with the appearance of Ciri or Triss or Yen.
Yeah.
But it's weird because his voice comes out of their mouths. But so for people who want to play as like a femme, they can do that, but it's still weird and clunky.
Yeah.
But the women are like, their participation in the plot is interesting and like they have interesting characters, but all of them fuck Geralt if you choose to play the game that way.
Yeah.
And like,
very male power fantasy.
It's just, everyone is so impractically dressed sexy for no fucking reason.
Fantasy armor problem.
Yeah, and like I know that's how video games are, but like it's every woman you run into. Yeah. And so like I was Googling like, what should I play? And like I made a little list for myself from that Google search. And one of them is Hellblade, which I was telling you about yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I'm really close to the end now. But yeah, it's Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. The premise is that you're playing as a woman who is she's technically picked, PICT, like basically part of the Norse Celtic diaspora, basically. Like they don't really specify where exactly she is. I think like
Somewhere in Northern Europe.
I think technically she's in Scotland, but I don't think it's like exactly important. But so her betrothed is killed and she's basically going to Norse hell, which is hell with one L.
Yep. The cold one.
Yeah. To retrieve him. And so it's about her journey to retrieve him. But she also has psychosis. And so part of the game is like there's these voices that you can hear. And you also have to play with headphones because you can hear the voices coming from different directions. You have to decide if they're lying to you or not. And sometimes they're really helpful and sometimes they're totally leading you astray. But yeah, dude, fucking great.
That
wonderful game design. It's been really fun.
That's interesting. That sounds really fucking cool.
Yeah. And it's like a pretty short game. It's not like a huge endeavor like The Witcher.
Yeah.
Which on the one hand, I'm like, fuck, I want more. But on the other hand, is good because I don't need to be following down huge rabbit holes right before summer and it's lovely out.
It's good that she didn't go for God of War, though, because that's huge in open world.
Yeah. That might be like my cold weather project for this year.
It's a good cold weather project.
But so what's on your holodeck?
My holodeck. I am getting into, so I've been a Magic the Gathering player for a very long time. I've primarily played a format called Commander, which is a lot more casual. It's a 4-player game instead of a 2-player game, which like most other Magic formats are. And you're only allowed to use 1 copy of each card in your deck, right? So it's very like, we're going to limit you in this way. And it's going to be like, the whole thing is like, there's this whole culture of like casual fun, but it also means like sometimes people can be like be a dick if you're actually trying to win. Right. And I'm not one of the people who's like super spiky about it. Like, I'm not like, oh, I need to fucking win this game of Commander or whatever. But I do think that there is like kind of an annoying culture around the idea of like, oh, if you ever try to win the game, it's okay for other people at the table to like, be like, bro, what the fuck is that?
Oh, so it's to the detriment of like if you're actually trying to be strategic and go for it, people are like,
if you're
we're just having fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm getting into a game called the version which is modern, which is 1v1, very competitive. And I'm not going to be that good at it, and I'm not that competitive, but I do want the like experience of like, okay, how do I think strategically in like the situation with Magic? Right. It's going to be super fun. I just bought like one of the cheaper decks, 12 whack, for those of you who know what that means. It's got goblins. It's great. And I'm getting into that now. I mean, I'm also still on the holodeck for me. As always, Warhammer. I have been reading Gaunt's Ghosts, which is all about, I don't know if I talked about this on one of the last episodes. I don't care. But it's about basically in the world of Warhammer, which is so like, oh, there's a million fucking overpowered things. It's about guys who are basically regular soldiers in this larger world. And the only thing that they basically have to their advantage is that they are, 1, really good at stealth, and that 2, they have a commander who's just like good at his job. His name's Gaunt.
A good manager is really important.
A good manager is really important. I also like Gaunt a lot because he's very like, he's clearly smarter than all of his superiors, but he doesn't act like it. He's just kind of like put upon, right? He's just like, I have to deal with this shit again. Like, but it's also very like not fatalist. He's very like, he's a good character. They're all very fun, very the whole thing is about this like ragtag team of guys who are like from this dead planet. Super cool. Yeah, that's what's up for me.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. This has been another episode of the Klingon Opera House. Thank you for tuning in. If you're listening to this, smooch, I love you. Goodbye.